G'day guys and welcome back to Casual Rage.
Excuse me, I'm Tim.
And I'm Greg.
Go fuck yourself, Disney. Hello everyone and welcome to Casual Rage 52. Casual Rage, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. And of course, I am joined by my illustrious co-hosts. Tim, Open Airlock Policy, how are you?
Doing great. I am now Emperor's Chair, Tim.
Emperor's Chair Tim.
Yes,
Okay.
And it feels so great on my back. I'm not going to lie to you. The first morning I woke up after having this chair, I felt taller, like my back was straighter.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable, and it's built for someone of my size. So, yeah, thanks to all of my members, our mutual members, for, all the contributions that help pay for stuff like this and just help keep the lights on. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, nice. We're getting more and more into the realms of being emperors and gatekeepers and things like that. We've got to get the chairs and everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Grand High Priest, how are you, my friend?
I am not an emperor.
I got some of the holy water. Hang on.
You're not an emperor, you're a what?
Grand High Priest.
Oh, of course. How are you?
I kind of had a shitty day, but
Really?
I'm happy to be here.
That's no good.
Well,
Hey, just a quick
this is the turnaround. This is the turning point for the day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're going to make it good again. Just a quick
Great
reminder.
again.
Great.
We don't
again.
settle for good here.
Sorry. Just a quick reminder. Next week, I believe daylight savings for us kicks in this weekend in a couple of days, which means it's going to change the times. I think it means for you guys that it's going to be an hour earlier. I think that's how it works. And then when your daylight savings kicks in, it's 2 hours earlier. So I might actually look at just moving the time a little bit for myself. And then
Yeah, I won't be able to do it at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah,
I may not even be
exactly.
home from work at that time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll work around that as things happen. So just keep that in mind, guys, over the next, this coming week for us, it'll change. And then when does it change for you guys? It's November, right?
First week in November. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a month after that, it goes another hour. So we'll work around all of that. But I hope you're all doing very, very well. Let's quickly take a look and see who we've got here. We've got Michael in the house. Bond bombed. We're going to talk a little bit about Bond.
I like that.
Yeah.
My name is
My
Bond.
name is Bond.
Jane Bond.
Bond. Anyway, we got Trey in the house. How you doing, Trey?
Trey?
We got Jock Nerdy here. G'day, Jock Nerdy.
Ryan.
We got Tim in the chat as well. We got One Man Show here. Greetings and salutations. How do I say this?
Stolsky
Stolsky. Okay, I was
and a
going a
bunch
whole
of
different way.
East Asian writing. Yeah.
Stolsky, thank you for being here. I see you all the time, but I'm not good with names and not good with reading. So, Subhumans here. Hello, Sub. Soul Shade's in the chat. Oh, and the other thing too, yes, Soul Shade. We of course finally got the print out. That's on my Teespring store. You can go and get some merch of Charles choking me and saying, "Want to fight?" So, yes, you can go check that out. But hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Let's see. What do we got to talk about today? What have we got to talk about today? There's actually been a couple of things. I think we'll start off with like the Venom stuff because there's been a little bit of talk about this. Venom 1, both of you guys watch Venom, the first one? No. Greg, did you?
Never have, never will.
Huh. Okay, then. Well, I'm the only one here that's then watched it. Well, look, I didn't mind it. I thought it could have definitely been better, but I still think that they're trying to... Venom became, I feel, popular more so because of Spider-Man than actually Venom holding his own. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
Well,
I'm sure there'll be... Go on.
But in the 90s, I think he did hold his own. I think he was a kind of like Deadpool. He had like this cult following because I had friends that were into comics, and yeah, they were into it just for Venom. And I think I'm not saying it's an exact. Well, yeah, it's not the exact same thing as Deadpool, but like the following was kind of similar where he had a lot of fans. But I was never a Spider-Man fan, as I've mentioned many times, and thus I didn't really care about anything associated with that. When it came to Marvel, I was pretty much all X-Men. I have a little bit of Captain America, Iron Man, but pretty much X-Men for me when it comes to Marvel. And then the big events I would read. So,
yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you're right. I feel like Venom did gain its own little bit of itself, if that's the right way to put it. But I still think like if they wanted
the right pronoun, yeah.
If they wanted to make this really work, they could be going about it the right way. But then I look at the way that then this has come out. It's kind of like when people come out and say, you know, it's going to deal with the misogynistic bullshit that it makes you not want to see it. This marketing ploy that they take, this woke marketing ploy that they take, that then is supposed to preach to this small minority of people and make them happy, but then it turns everybody else off. And those people can say that you're bigoted because it turns you off, but that's not what I want to hear about a movie. Bring up, have you got the article there, Tim?
Where did you send the article? In the private chat?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's the first one, the top one.
Yeah, Andy Serkis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I actually don't mind Andy Serkis as an actor. He's done, I think he did a great job in Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't go so much to say Snoke, but he does a lot of he does a lot of that work where you don't actually see his face. He's always sort of covered up by some CGI or something like that. But he always seems to be able to hit a home run.
There it is.
Here we go.
Well, like, and I don't want to shit on Andy Serkis here before we get into the article, but like, have you ever in your life encountered essentially a voice actor? I mean, yeah, he did motion cap, but like literally anybody could put on the suit and like crawl around on the ground.
I don't know about that. You got to crawl in a certain way, I think.
Okay.
Well, he's still got to have a specific movement.
Could you do it? I mean, come on.
He'd be a very.
You said anyone? Okay.
I could do it. And he just wouldn't look very good. Like they'd have to really slim me down in a mocap. But like, he got like so much recognition, like no other. And you know, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but like, have you ever heard of like a voice actor or a motion capture person getting as much attention as like he has? And I think the one bad thing is I don't think the animators get enough credit for Gollum.
Mm-hmm.
And like Andy Serkis gets all the credit. It's like, that's a digital. Yeah, he did the motion capture, but like the CG artists and the 3D artists that made him come to life, I think are much more responsible for the character than Andy Serkis. That's just
Well, remember a couple months ago that story on Gimli, that guy that really actually played Gimli more than what's his name?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, there was the stuntman. Probably is the majority of what you see on screen of Gimli. More John Rhys Davies, more so than him. That was a pretty big story that all the channels, our friends, were talking about and stuff. Same thing here. Like who's really playing these characters in these CGI movies? And that's an old fucking trilogy. It's 20 years old at this point.
I still think like with Gollum, I get what you're saying about the animators and things like that, but I still think with Gollum, like the actor still needs to bring that character to life through the voice, through the actions and the movements. More
so than any other voice actor?
Maybe not. But I still give him credit because like even Trey says here, Snoke hurt him. I actually think that in isolation, he actually did a good job in that role, I suppose.
Well, Snoke was a shit character.
It was basically that's right.
Just was like, I'm going to talk mean.
Yeah.
Well, but case in point, guys. Case in point. Mine, or I will help you not. I mean, I don't want to see Frank Oz like playing like I don't want to see him acting as himself, right? Like, but he brought Yoda to life. He literally is the one who made that successful. And George was saying all the way back into the 80s that he was so worried about Yoda
and the puppetry.
Yes. So I think they deserve credit, you know. I definitely do, but I don't want to see Andy Serkis. That's the thing.
Right. I his stuff outside of, well, he had a character in one of the boring monkey movies too, right?
The what?
Planet of the Apes.
King Kong.
No, I know he had a role in.
I think he was a character in Planet of the Apes too.
Didn't he have a role in Planet of the Apes as well? I'm gonna check.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that, like the motion capture or whatever for that. Like I said, like I'm not trying to shit on voice actors or these other ones. It's just like it was really bizarre, like how much they made an effort to like really put him out there, and like we hadn't seen that before about many other roles or actors. Like nobody was going, Ahmed Best, what a great. Well, you did a lot of work. You had to wear that silly hat so the eye lines were correct, and you know when you were acting with the actors, you know, nobody's like, "Oh wow, Ahmed Best, you did great motion capture there."
But see, then if even Andy Serkis in his role in the Marvel universe, like he does, I think he does that role. It plays the South African really well. Again, I think he's quite good in that.
Yeah.
But yes, it is Planet of the Apes, and he plays Caesar.
Serviceable. I wouldn't say like great.
Oh, Caesar from Planet of the Apes. When Trey was saying he was Caesar, I thought he meant like in HBO's Rome or something. And I'm like, that's kind of a weird casting.
Yeah, no, Caesar.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Well, let's take a look at this article and let's see what he actually had to say.
Let's do that. I'm gonna have to slow down here because when I read this, it's really hard to read fast. That acronym. Andy Serkis claims Venom: Let There Be Carnage features Venom's LGBTQIA coming out party. Let's skip.
Wait a minute. No plus? Fucking
no plus.
Yes, but this is who it's John, and he's going to be on the show Monday, so we got to talk to him about this.
Yeah, is that an accurate quote?
Tell him he's a fucking bigot.
I need to know how bigoted Andy Serkis is for excluding the plus people.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the fuck they are.
Maybe he did add the plus, and it was John F. Trent that actually forgot to put the plus in. So maybe he's the bigot.
Well, then I wouldn't attribute it. Then I wouldn't attribute it to bigot. It would just, be an oversight. Typo maybe.
Yes.
I'd give John Trent
give the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
It's Uproxx again. Serkis spoke with Uproxx to promote the upcoming film, where he discussed a scene in the film where Venom goes to a rave. The director explained it was originally going to be a carnival of the damned, and it ended up being Tom had got to know Little Sims, who's a brilliant rapper and also stars in the movie. And she actually had made a song unbeknownst to her called Venom that connected very much with the first movie. And so Tom got in touch with her, and that song became sort of the focus. Well, Tom and co-writer Kelly Marcel were always about Venom coming out and going to a party that was a very sort of an LGBTQIA kind of festival, really, I'd call it. And so this is his coming out party, basically. This is Venom's coming out party, he added. So we did this the other day, and this is like way out of context, and it was Serkis kind of, I don't know what he was thinking here. When you're talking to someone from Uproxx, like, why are you saying this?
I was going to say this before you
started. Why are you
saying
reading. This?
The way he worded it was very poorly worded. I don't think, but see, I wouldn't put it past him to actually put in a scene where Venom, they're at a party, let's say they're at some rave thing, right?
Sure.
And Venom inside his head, you know how he's always hearing himself talk to himself, sort of thing? He always hears Venom inside his head.
Yeah, I've seen commercials.
You guys haven't seen it, but
I've seen commercials and stuff.
He always hears Venom talking inside his head. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, Venom starts saying, "Oh, he's kind of cute," like, talking about somebody that he's looking at, that Eddie Brock is looking at, and like Venom forces him to go over and kiss some dude or something. It would not surprise me if that was to happen. It's like, I want to eat him. And he's like, no, you can't eat him. Oh, okay, I'll do the next best thing. And he walks over and kisses him or something. Like, it just, that's the storytelling these days. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did something as stupid as that.
Yeah.
Just quickly, how do you say that?
Vicious Archon.
Vicious Archon, thank you. For a $5 super sticker, thank you. Let me just quickly check and see what that is. It's a fox going hee 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 hee. So thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. So we'll give you.
That came bounding over.
Fuck off, Disney! You fucking cunt! Thank you. All right. Go on. How does he word it? Let's see.
Uproxx writer Mike Ryan then pressed Serkis, asking, well, like, actually coming out? Because that's very interesting. So here's, like, what was Serkis thinking when he said this? Serkis responded, well, coming out, being out. Ryan then countered, well, you just compared it to LGBTQIA. That's very interesting. So what's going on here is that the writer, the interviewer, is calling him out because he probably knew that it literally wasn't a coming out thing, and he knew that Serkis was just trying to pander and promote the movie by creating a mystery box almost. Like, yeah, come see, but he literally meant coming out like Venom, right? That's what he's really talking about. So he was trying to say that and be coy and cryptic, yet this SJW writer kind of got offended. Because listen to what he says. Well, you just compared it to LGBTQIA. That's very interesting. Like, you are a a transphobe, basically, is what he's saying. You know?
Nah. See, I, when I first saw that, I thought about it a different way. I thought that the writer was taken aback by his comment, and then thought, oh, like that's very interesting. They're going to be doing some LGBT. Didn't even think about any play on words or anything like that. Just thought that it was very interesting. That's how I saw.
Well,
that.
no, I think, but that's the second thing he said. First, he said, "Well, like actually." You know, I think he kind of knew, and he's challenging him. That's what I think's happening.
Yeah, he's calling Circus on his intentional like double wordplay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think's happening. Circus then explained, well, what is interesting is that it's just like, here he is kind of, man, he talks weird. He says in the movie, we must stop this cruel treatment of aliens. He said, you know, we all live on this ball of rock, you know, and he inadvertently becomes kind of he's speaking for the other. He's speaking for freedom of the other. Wow. He really painted himself into a corner in this interview. He must have been drunk or high or something.
So when this is a question for everyone in the chat for you guys, when you see something like this, or you see something promoted like this, whether or not you can look at the context of it and go, okay, Andy's just fucked up what he's saying there, how does that make you feel about going to see the movie? Does it, like, because for me, it's one of those situations where I look at it and go, all right, Andy Serkis, you're trying to pander, you're doing it very poorly, right? And now you've actually got the side that you're trying to pander to all up in arms. They're pissed off, or, they're very interested now to see what you mean by that. And if they can find any form of way to spin it so that it's actually against you, they'll try and cancel you. How dare you equate being some alien with a symbiote inside their body to LGBTQ? How dare you? Like that's what they'll do, and they'll try and cancel him based on that. Again, I know you guys were never going to see it by the sounds of things. I mean, you didn't even watch the first one, but if this was a movie that you were interested in seeing and this came out, how would you feel about going to see it?
Well, I mean, number one, like, okay, it's obviously not really an LGBTQIA coming out thing, but skipping all that, look what he's saying here. You know, hearing Venom say that cringy stuff about cruel treatment of aliens, that's still like this stupid. I haven't seen it though, so I don't know if it was kind of like Johnny in Cobra Kai, kind of making fun of the woke stuff. Maybe that's what he was doing in the movie. I don't know, but it could be either way. So here's the thing, though. Like, okay, you have him coming out and saying this, right? Trying to pander, and I mean, just painting himself into a corner. And this writer knows what's going on, and I'm reading this, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, what the hell was Andy Serkis thinking? Like, there's no good can come of this. Like, none.
When is this movie due to be out? Is it
no
out
good.
already? It's like
it'll probably say at the very end, but no good can come of this, guys. And where is it?
Greg, you got any comment?
Yeah, there's. What concerns me about the quote isn't the AI plus thing. It's, and Tim kind of alluded to it. It's it sounds to me like they're going to use Venom as an alien thing to like go after some sort of racism message or immigration message, right? Kind of like, you know, to me it reeked of like Supergirl season 2 kind of shit.
But it does sound kind of tongue-in-cheek too, Greg. Like, you haven't seen Cobra Kai, but Johnny like makes comments, and others do too, and it's almost like, oh yeah, we can't do this because of this, you know?
Yeah.
I'd have to see the scene to understand the context.
The context, yeah.
And but see, Andy doesn't strike me as somebody who would use that to be tongue-in-cheek. Like, I think he thinks of his work.
Who wrote the movie though?
much more highbrow than it really is.
Did he write and direct it, or just is he directing?
Wow,
Let me try.
it doesn't matter.
Well, not only that, but to go back to Ryno's point about people being offended that you're trying to use aliens as an analogy for gays or whatever. That's because these people, guys, do not understand allegories. They don't get it. That's why in Star Trek, right? That's why in this new Trek stuff in Star Wars, you have actual, like we're talking about pronouns, right? They can't find a way, like old science fiction did, to use analogies and allegories for the moral or what they think is a moral to make their point. They have to actually come out and say it. So when you're watching a Star Trek scene and they're like, "Hey, which pronoun do we use?" That's totally out of place in the 23rd century. That tells you what the state of entertainment is, and science fiction specifically. So just, like right here, if that offends someone, that's the way you do want to do it, is to use an allegory, not to come out and literally have Venom or Carnage or any of the characters be whatever the victimized group is.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't understand
you know what
analogy. They're simple-minded
It's going to be
tools.
Carnage. It's going to be Carnage trying to plead to Venom about how the human race doesn't accept them and all of this kind of thing or something. There's going to be some allegory.
Yeah, and it's like there's better stories in the comic book world that can kind of tell that, like, the X-Men.
Yeah,
correct.
Correct. The X-Men does a great job of that.
So I think they overplay it too much.
Yeah, in the movies they do. But I think in the comic books they did pretty well. In the animated series they did pretty well.
And they hit it the nail pretty much on the head with X-Men, because what's Magneto's motivation, right? He was a victim of the concentration camps in World War II, right? His whole character motivation is pretty much like a pretty direct reference. It's not very nuanced, but I think better done and definitely more understandable. Like, you understand his character and his motivations for why he's doing the things he does. He doesn't realize that by doing the things he does, he's actually being more like the bad guys in World War II than fighting against them. But that message is still there. So I think it's done better in other things. And sometimes a dumb comic book movie just needs to recognize and be a dumb comic book movie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
It doesn't need to try so hard. And the reason they have to be so blatant and obvious now is, like, one, they lack the talent to tell allegory. Two, they can't not pat themselves on the back hard enough for all the wonderful things that they're doing and how they need to project to the rest of the world what a great person they are.
Yeah. That's the craziest part about Hollywood, is how much patting on the back that they do. Well,
they have to. They can't help themselves. That's why they're you see a lot in these times, because you're wondering, previously, like, God, why don't they just shut up and let people watch it and experience it, instead of having to go out there and talk about it? Mm-hmm. You go back to Ewan McGregor with the DC movie, whatever the fuck it was. Not Suicide Squad, but the other one. But whatever. Birds of Prey, right? Okay. And they have to go out there and pat themselves on the back, because they can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, going back to the X-Men stuff and how well they did it. I mean, Magneto's storyline and progression of his character and all of this is probably the best part of the entire X-Men series. His motivations, everything is so spot on with Magneto, I find. And again, they just do it well. Sorry, I just wanted to add that on top.
Well, to go back to what Greg was saying, I saw a tweet that someone had retweeted today. And it said something like, let me find it. Keep talking. I need to show you guys this. I know what it was. it said all these like black shows, like African American shows, they're not even made for black people. They're made for like liberal white people to make themselves feel better. I think it might have been Steve Kenobi that retweeted that today.
It's for white people so that the white people who are making these movies can use black people to show you how racist you are. It's fucking ridiculous.
And think that they're doing like black people a favor in the process.
Yeah, that's right. And more black people are actually offended than most when that sort of shit happens.
Yeah.
Or not just black people, Asian people, however they play.
There's a term for it, white knighting, right?
But as far as I know, there's no AET, like the Asian Entertainment channel or whatever,
So Andy Serkis is directing it. He's the only director. And then the writer is Kelly Marcel, I think. M-A-R.
Oh, that's right. I read that name earlier. My bad.
And then that's the screenplay by her, but then Tom Hardy is story by, and he's getting
all that means credit. Is he came up with like, here's the story, and then she took it and made it real. He or she, I don't know if Kelly's a male or a female.
Right. So he came up with the story. I don't know. Maybe he knows the character well enough that I hope he does. And I actually think that he did a good job in the first one. I didn't mind the first one. But yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting. Like this next part, I think I talked about this on Monday as well, but we saw something similar on Sunday night. Greg and I did on a Star Trek terrible from Inverse, this terrible article on Star Trek about Spock and Kirk being gay, pretty much, especially Spock. And this line is almost word for word. I had to check to see if it was even the same writer, but here's the guy from Uprocks. Ryan then stated, and it's very obvious that Eddie and Venom are in love. Like we all know that. They are in love. Serkis confirmed, absolutely they do love each other, and that's the kind of center of the movie. That's the kind of the center of the movie is that love affair. Man, he talks really weird. That central love affair. So what the hell does that even mean?
It means that this is where the world's at and this is what people care about. When you talk about your movie, they actually care more about the creatures or the characters' sexual preferences or sexual innuendos or whatever more than the story. That's what they think we want to hear. And this is what's so fucking crazy about it. This is why I wanted to really bring this up, is because I don't understand why this is the line of promotion that they want to take when they're talking about their movie.
Right.
Whether the person asks them that question or not, say to them, why does that matter to my story? It doesn't.
Right.
See,
like whether or not Eddie and Venom love each other or not has nothing to do with my story. Unless it actually
it depends on how you define love, right? So there's romantic love, and then there's like familiar or brotherly love, right? So like I love my sister, I love my brother. I'm not in love with them, I'm not romantically in love with them. And I think what he's alluding to here is the non-romantic.
No. The writer says in love, and then Serkis says he refers to it as an affair. Love affair. I mean, come on.
Then that's just...
I mean, read this. They are in love. Absolutely, they do love each other. Love affair. So either he the writer said that, and then he instantly said, aha, here's another opportunity to pander, right? But he has to know that once this writer saw it, they're going to know it's not even true,
Yeah, I'm thinking of the movie. I think it's like extraordinarily unlikely that they're actually going to be like, I love you romantically in the movie, and it's more of that familial kind of love. But
And you need to highlight Blue Eyed Scorpio. His last comment that deserves a highlight.
It means he took the biggest BBC in history. That's funny.
there you go. But again, and talked about it when we were talking about that Star Trek thing, is again, shippers are the worst dregs of society there are.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Who the fuck wants Eddie and a fucking creature Venom to be romantically involved? Like, if that's you, get help. You're a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
If they actually have a scene where
yourself and do the world a favor.
If they actually have a scene where like Eddie's just sitting at home and Venom pops out and then they just start making out, again, I wouldn't put it past them to fucking do it, but it'd be fucking cringe.
I highly doubt it. But again, like, I'm sure these weirdo shippers would love it. Who the fuck watches Venom and like, I need a romance in here? That's what I'm reading Venom for.
No, not just a romance.
Right.
A deviant romance. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, just anytime you see shippers, gatekeep them the fuck out. Yeah. Humiliate them, destroy them by any means necessary.
Kill them with fire.
They are the Antichrist to any fucking franchise. Kick them out.
Anti-jab. Yeah.
Get them fired, ruin their lives, whatever it takes.
Cancel them is what Greg's saying.
Them. Cancel culture should exist for all shippers. All shippers should be canceled violently if necessary.
Skirmitar, please get on that clip.
In Minecraft.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
Did we figure out when this is coming out?
It's already out. Tree commented.
Oh, it is.
It's already out.
Yeah. I thought it was.
It's out.
It's out. It's out.
It's
it came out this week, right? It came out like a day or two ago, and then we got Bond coming out next week. That is another thing that I'm very curious to see, based on the fact that Shang-Chi, right, came out surrounded by nothing, right? Had free reign at the box office pretty much for fucking months. It'll be interesting to see how Venom 2 goes and Bond goes, being that they are competing against each other. Yes, they are a week apart, but it'll be just interesting to see how they go up against things like Shang-Chi, things like Black Widow. Black Widow's a hard one, though, because they released it on Disney Plus at the same time, so it's hard to sort of stack up the numbers against it. But yeah, if you've seen it already, I noticed that like Ryan and all those guys were watching it. They went and saw it. But yeah, my main reason for bringing this up is that I fucking hate I hate the way movies are being promoted now. Whether or not this was an intention by the journalist to try and get him to talk this way, or whether or not that this was Andy's actual intention when he went in to the interview to make sure that he does do a little bit of pandering to some segment of fucking society.
Well, they knew the publication that was, he knew.
He knew, that's right.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you got to remember, dude, that you're not talking to just that publication and the 5 people that subscribe to that publication, right? You're talking about this movie, and the fans are going to hear about it. And it's the same thing with Birds of Prey when Ewan McGregor said, this is a movie that's going to, and apparently it didn't even come close to the misogyny that he was talking about. But not only that, he turned people off.
Well, let's keep reading here, because he kind of explains some of what we just read.
Yeah.
In the production notes for the film supplied by Sony Pictures, Serkis previously claimed the film is a love story, but not the love story you might think. He explained in the notes, it's very much about the extraordinary relationship between symbiote and host. Any love affair has its pitfalls, its high points and low points. Venom and Eddie's relationship absolutely causes problems and stress, and they have a near hatred for each other. But they have to be with each other, and they can't live without each other. That's companionship, love, the things that relationships are really about. Serkis would further describe the relationship between Eddie and Venom, saying, it's Jekyll and Hyde. Eddie is rather arrogant, thinking life owes him a favor. Venom is the complete opposite, unfiltered and speaking his mind totally. He continued, and they're trapped together. After meeting in the first movie, they've now got the 7-year itch. They've had enough of each other and can't wait to be apart. So yeah, it's a really weird way of thinking about the host and symbiote relationship.
It makes me think of Stargate. It makes me think that like somebody's gonna grab hold of Stargate and make it the Jafar in Stargate. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are trans people or something.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're rebooting that, aren't they? Aren't they rebooting?
Yeah.
No,
I've heard. Well, I don't know if it's been 100% guaranteed, but I have heard things around it.
Yeah.
And this is the problem that I see with all this entertainment that's coming out now, with all this pandering bullshit in it, is when the pendulum does swing the other way, and then these people look at these movies and go, "Yeah, fuck, they are trash. Like that is really fucking bad." I don't know if they'll ever actually notice that and ever actually admit to it. But, you know, these people that said that Birds of Prey is a triumph, or these people that said that fucking Ghostbusters 2016 was some sort of female empowerment fucking something or other. Like all of these movies that have been coming out that have purely been for pandering purposes, I honestly can't wait for the pendulum to swing the other way and people actually realize what they are. I hope that actually happens.
I just really want to talk to, like, I want to see an interview with Andy's wife. Like Andy's view on, marriage seems pretty dark.
Yeah.
Like, how does your wife feel about your comments about marriage? Because that's what he's kind of alluding to, right? They're married in a way.
He said some dumb shit too. I'd be curious to see what he's
from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much
all
of
it.
This Ryno. Yeah, there's not a whole heck of a lot else there. So
yeah, I've also heard a rumor about them sort of trying to cross into the Spider-Man stuff with their Venom stuff. So it'd be curious to see how and if they try and do that. But yeah, if you go and see it, let me know what you think about it. I'm probably not going to go. Well, I can't go and see it. Theaters are fucking closed, so I'll wait and I'll probably watch that on TV or something. All right.
Nice.
Next
you want
up,
the next one?
Yeah. Next up, we've got the James Bond stuff.
Fuck.
So now
Look.
This movie actually hasn't been released yet. But obviously the critics have gone to see it, and I don't know if the embargo is actually lifted or not. I heard that they were actually trying to keep it under wraps so people couldn't actually put reviews out. You bring up the article, but I'm going to just share my screen really quickly because I saw this Yellow Flash retweeted. I saw it all over Twitter, and it really does. It's a great picture, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's our Bond now. And, like, that was a great comparison. Like in the one on the left, the the Alpha Chad. Look at what they're doing. Like, isn't that equality? Doesn't that represent equality more than fucking this one now? Like, if that's what they're actually going for, they're working together. He's got one arm on the bike, she's got the other arm on the bike, and they're working together. They're on.
I don't think that's a fair comparison because one is clearly riding a motorcycle and the other one's clearly riding a battery-operated scooter
from China. Yeah.
I mean, like, so even if Bond is driving, it's still like, wow, pretty emasculating.
Oh yeah, it's true. But yeah, I saw that and I thought, well, fuck.
I mean, look at that fucking thing. Where's the little bicycle, bell? Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, now. Oh, no. It hasn't come out yet, has it? Anyway, I just looked at that and I just thought, even if they are, let's say, swinging it the other way and they're trying to actually course correct it, they tried to course correct a little bit and make it not so much about her being Bond. Who did I see? It was Grace Randolph on Twitter. What did she say? Hang on, let me bring that up.
She said, "So."
Yeah.
So. Get it right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There should always.
So
repulsive.
Yeah. You find it?
Yeah, I did. Here we go.
Well, it reminds me of the. I'm trying to find my tweet from this months and months, a year ago, whatever the hell it was. The motorcycle with Black Widow. Remember that picture that came out like way back in May? I want to say. I can't fucking find my tweet on it, but I said something really funny. Trust me.
Hey, Greg. Why don't you guys read that?
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm really upset people are intentionally floating out a lie about Lashana Lynch taking over the role of Bond in No Time to Die. Fuck it. She even drives him his damn number back. They work together. Stop hating on this movie before you see it. She's amazing and doesn't deserve this shit.
Nice.
Grace Randolph's voice, but I think part of the key it is to never have the same tone for more than a syllable at a time.
Yeah.
That's very difficult to reproduce.
Yeah, it is.
Like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just saw that one bit from the trailer where I was like, okay, so they're inside that plane thing and Bond's in the back seat and she's in the pilot seat and he goes, oh, have you ever used one of these before? And she's like, no, never. And then they eject out and she's all of a sudden flying the thing. Now, don't get me wrong, that's something that Bond would do in a scenario, but the fact that it was made known, okay, let's say it was just Bond in that scenario. And Bond gets in there and he shoots out the back and he flies this thing. We don't know whether or not he's used that before or not, or even used technology like that before or not, right? The fact that he references, have you ever done this before? And she says, no, never. And then and I bet you she pulls it off like a fucking genius, right?
Yeah.
That's not storytelling. That's not storytelling. That is pandering.
It is.
Whether or not it looks like it makes sense in the context or not. It's like I said, even if Bond never flew that device before ever, and it's his only way of getting out of this situation is to jump in that thing and fucking try and fly it, he wouldn't reference the fact as he's getting in, oh, I've never flown one of these before. No. He'd get in it. He'd fucking click, 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 click. Oh, they're not. Click, click, click. Okay, cool. Now I'm good to go. it's so bad the way that they.
It's kind of like maybe it's a situation like with Rey from the Disney trilogy where she found this manual, right? And then she read it, and that's how she can pilot Starship so amazingly.
Yeah.
So maybe the same thing happened. Yeah. And maybe she downloaded it from someone's head, the knowledge.
Maybe Tank back at the fucking
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar
for the Matrix?
fucking booted her up with some fucking pilot information.
There you go. You want me to read this here?
Yeah, look, I haven't even gone through this. So I just saw this. It was the most recent thing on Bounding Into Comics that they had for Bond. So I just thought we'd have a quick look through it. I don't know. Again, it says scores roll in. So this is like obviously the critic scores, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I'm stealing this, but someone out there said Craig showing up to the debut looking like he's a parking attendant from the 1950s here. So
yeah.
or like a lawn jockey or something. Let's see. Again by John. Critic scores for the upcoming James Bond film No Time to Die are rolling in. The film arrives in theaters in the United Kingdom on September 30th. It's out right now then. And in the United States on October 8th. Rotten Tomatoes. On Rotten Tomatoes, the Tomato Meter critic score currently sits at 86% with 64 fresh reviews and 10 rotten. Average rating, 7.10.
Do you reckon we can trust that at all?
No, I don't. No.
I wonder what the 10 negative reviews say.
But,
They probably say
see, the thing
stunning
is,
and
like,
brave, but there wasn't enough. There just wasn't enough female representation or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
well, you got to remember this is an action movie franchise first and foremost, so you're going to get a lot of snobby critics who are just not going to like it regardless because they're just not going to like the style of movie.
Yeah.
So, like, I would expect most action movies to not like an 86% is high for an action movie from snobby film critics. But it really depends on who submitted their reviews.
This motherfucker is 2 hours and 43 minutes long.
Wow, 3-hour movie?
Yeah, man.
There's got to be long credits. You know how the opening credits are always like so long? That's what annoys me about Bond films. It's like, yeah, they're kind of cool, but shit, use a minute and a half tops. I don't need more than that for my opening. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay, return.
Yeah.
How you doing?
2 hours and 43 minutes. Damn. Let's see.
That's too long for a Bond movie. I even think the last one was one of the longest ones, and that was. It's just they become a struggle to sit through.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Looking at the top critics, the film does considerably worse. It only has a 78% tomato meter score with 21 fresh scores and 6 rotten scores. However, the average rating is 7.7. Here's what the critics are saying. A.O. Scott. What kind of name is that? A.O. Scott at the New York Times gives the film a rotten rating. Here we go. He writes, if No Time to Die were 90 minutes long, it might be worth yours. Boom, there it is. Thanks for addressing that amazingly long movie. Runtime, that's fucking ridiculous. Mike LaSalle at the San Francisco Chronicle gives the film a perfect 4 out of 4 rating.
Fuck off. Okay, this is why you cannot trust Rotten Tomatoes at all. We already know why we can't trust them.
Or San Francisco.
What score did this get? Sorry, from the
4 out of 4.
80. No. What was the on Rotten Tomatoes? 80 what?
It's at 83 right now.
It's 60.
It's at 83 right now. Okay.
Okay.
GoldenEye has a 79 critic score and an 83 audience score. And that's GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the best, most highly praised Bond movies of all time. Now, maybe the game helped that, but Still,
I think so. Well, and it was the first outing for Pierce Brosnan, and after Bond was kind of put to bed for 10 years. So
yeah,
this I can believe.
think,
From Russia with Love has got a 95% critic score and an 84% audience score.
And then Brian Tallarico at RogerEbert.com gives the film a rotten 2 out of 4 rating. He writes, "There's nothing here that hasn't been done better in one of the other Craig movies." And that's the thing. These Craig movies are like all the same to me. Like the action and all that stuff. It's like if you showed me 5 minutes of one of them, I couldn't tell you which one it is, probably. Would you agree?
Yeah. I like the only one that I think that I'd actually be able to pick out of all of them would be Casino Royale.
Yeah, keep the other characters out, as clues, and just do like one of those fast cut action scenes, and then like ask me which one it is. I wouldn't even begin to be able to guess.
Well, Spectre and Quantum of Solace seem very, very much the same movie. Very similar.
I stopped after Skyfall.
Yeah, I love Sean Bean too. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's good.
But yeah, look, I don't know. Do we really want to go through much more of this? Who else has said anything? Are there any critics saying anything?
Oh yeah, all kinds of shit. By whatever metrics you measure a Bond movie, tight plotting, gnarly villains, emotional sincerity, Craig's final outing is a rip-roaring success. I don't know. Man, that's like 5 out of 5. That's like a shill media right there. Slants magazine. Go ahead.
I'm on Rotten Tomatoes now. I love reading these because like it really just points out how stupid the entire rating system for the Rotten Tomatoes uses. It's like, okay, so here's Maura McDonald from the Seattle Times, top critic. No Time to Die has moments of pleasure, lots of them, but ultimately it feels heavy in a way a Bond movie shouldn't. Its pacing is off, and it can't quite sell the earnestness and even sentimentality of much of its storyline. Rated it fresh because she gave it a 2.5 out of 4. It's considered fresh by her. Just reading that blurb, does it sound like she liked the movie or not?
Right.
Sounds like she didn't like the movie.
I agree.
And a 2.5 out of 4 is not a great score, but the way they measure things, that's considered fresh.
Right. Look at this. Barry Hertz, Globe and Mail. No Time to Die makes sure that my eyes are following each and every oh whoa stunt, as well as guaranteeing that I actually care about whether or really how Bond gets out of this one. Sure. Slant magazine. This Bond's overall arc from modishly merciless killing machine to aging assassin with the familial feels, okay, comes off as a treacly sop to psychological complexity. Yeah, this guy's trying to use the thesaurus strategy here to write shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, just like, what's his name? Who is that? The token conservative for years at the Times. What's like guy that used all the big words. And then Dana Carvey would do impressions of him on SNL. I can't think of that guy, but he would always use these big words that he probably didn't even know what they meant. John Roberts at New Paper. It's bold and ambitious, yet it exudes, not excludes, exudes confidence and moves with such drive. You do not feel most of its admittedly long 163-minute running time. So this is a play on words here. This is a sign, guys. It exudes confidence and moves with such drive. So he's on the back of the motorcycle, not showing confidence, and it's not moving with any drive on that little scooter. Tell me that's not a sign. Is that a sign, Greg? Okay.
Going out of business.
Yeah. There you go. Let's see. B-. My New Plaid Pants. That's like a huge media website, right? My New Plaid Pants. You can feel the film dragging its heels toward its destination. Nobody wanting to say their goodbyes to the franchise, and I'm generous enough and willing to grant them some leeway on that front because Daniel Craig's James Bond has earned it. So yeah, he's given them the handicap, I guess.
Well, from what I've heard also too, like the end of this movie guarantees that Craig's never coming back as Bond. So to me, that tells me that they kill him.
Good. Well, I don't think they can. I don't think they'll kill him.
I think he'll die one of those emotional, like sacrificial deaths that will be deep and meaningful, and because what it'll be the fact that Daniel Craig doesn't want to play the role anymore. He didn't even want to do this movie. And it would have been like a Han Solo thing. Make sure you kill me off. I don't want to even have an inkling that I could come back. So if they have him just right off into the sunset, right, there's obviously then a chance that, they could bring him out of retirement again. But if they kill him, then they can move on to another 007, a new Bond. And the thing is that if you're going to do that, you could do a decent handing over of the torch. I know that from previous Bond movies, like from Connery to Roger Moore, moving forward through them all, there was never really a handing over of the torch.
No, it's just somebody just takes over the role, and that's the way it should be.
That's
like
right.
there shouldn't be well, this actor can't, like, the character can't die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't kill the character because the actor no longer is doing it, because then, like, how do you explain that in the next movie? Like, a lot of the Bond movies kind of, I mean, there is, and the character does progress through time in the movies, and they do call back some things, but like each one, so then the next actor to take on the role should just, it shouldn't be a passing of the torch. It's just, I'm the new Bond, here I am. And this is just, and then the audience, because the audience, especially with James Bond, because they're used to it, because many people have played it now, is just like, okay, this is the new Bond. This is a new story. But I think that the critics in general are caught in this weird spot, right? Because I don't think they typically like James Bond as a character or the type of movie it is, because it's a spectacle movie, and typically they plug their noses and and deride these these movies that they would consider an amusement park ride if you're the Scorsese types. But they like this iteration of Bond because they broke the hero down and made him kind of pathetic.
Yeah,
they like that. That's interesting to them. They don't like the traditional Bond, so they like the Daniel Craig version of it. And I think you get reviews that are more about like Daniel Craig and this iteration than of the movie itself. Like, for example, here's like, tell me what you get like about the movie. Like, what does this say about the quality of the movie, if you can decipher this? This is Jessica Klang from the LA Times. This is her review, or the snippet that's on Rotten Tomatoes. Craig reveals himself as perhaps the most generous actor to have inhibited the role, not only towards the rest of the cast, but towards the very idea of Bond itself. I tell you anything about the fucking movie at all?
No.
It's like, I want to suck Craig's cock.
Yeah, But this is the thing. No one promotes movies anymore. No one in Hollywood, no one in the media promotes movies about what the movie's about. Because they think, well, maybe they actually are. Maybe because they're now making movies as these platforms for pandering, they actually are telling you what the movie's about. The problem is that there's nothing to it except for real life fucking politics being put on your screens.
Well, they need to let Bond just be Bond. It's supposed to be a spy action spectacle thing, and just let it be. Like, quit trying to make it something it's not, because it's successful. Like, leave it alone. Quit. Don't try and break down Bond. Don't try and make him all dour and depressed and sad about his life and the reluctant hero. Like,
I know.
Let other characters do that.
I know a guy claims to be a Star Wars fan. Let's bring it into Star Wars. Know a guy that claims to be a Star Wars fan, right? And guess what happened in 2017 in December? He went to see The Last Jedi. And he came back, got on social media talking about how amazing it was, right? Because here's the thing, he's just like these people, and I call them like the edgelord type, right? They, just to be edgy and stuff, they like all this stuff. Like, ooh, they did something with Luke Skywalker that you don't expect. They did something with Luke Skywalker that broke down the norm, right? That broke down tradition. That's cool and edgy, man. And then guess what? Rise of Skywalker came out. He didn't like it because, and we didn't like it either, but he didn't like it, and people like him didn't like it because it was more like all about spectacle and stuff than it was about doing what Rian Johnson did, trying to be all edgy. These are the people that like this because they're trying to be edgy. And when I say edgy, I mean, really, what really edgy is the original Bond, right? Like this guy that does what he wants with women and is a macho and a real man. But in today's world, edgy means you're doing something that breaks with tradition, and that's why these people like this, to make Greg's point more relevant. That's what they're doing, because it goes against tradition and all that came before.
Yeah, and they like their heroes to all be like to hate their lives or something. Like,
look at Picard. They did it with Picard.
Yeah. They're just like, I hate, like I saved the day and I hate it.
Yes.
Well, my life sucks. Woe is me. I regret everything. Like,
yeah.
I guess give me another mission. Whatever.
They love characters with white guilt. That's what it is, because they have it themselves.
I gotta show the line.
Show the line.
There you go.
I have to finish this. You ever flown one of these?
No.
Cool. Master. You ever flown one of these? Like, man, if you've never flown one of those before, I don't reckon I could jump in it and just start flicking switches and the wings deploy and know what I'm fucking doing. Like, again, it's that whole thing that if it was just Bond, and why is Bond taking a back seat? Why is she driving the scooter? Why is she flying the plane?
That's the second vehicle. We need to get a vehicle count of how many vehicles is she operating that he's also in. Like, how much do they need to drive that point in?
Yeah, they have to show that they're on equal planes.
I guarantee there's going to be a car.
They're interchangeable.
Just a normal car.
Oh, holy shit! Look, there's Snoke.
What?
He's walking through a cloning facility where there's Snokes everywhere. Look, he's shocked.
They're going to tie it into Mandalorian. So
yeah,
no wonder all these people in our quote-unquote community are praising Bond.
Anyway, I just I feel like movies these days, and especially movies like this where it's the white straight male, the toxic masculinity, that they feel that they need to constantly suppress, constantly put down. And Grace, you can come out and say that this stop attacking it. Grace, this movie was fucking promoted that way. The movie was told that we were going to have it. What? So there's no scene where what's his name? Not Q. The leader guy, M, says, "Come in, 007." And who walks in that scene? I mean, I haven't seen it, but 007's already in the room.
Sorry, I just read something. You put the StreamYard link in the pin. It's not the Streamlabs link.
What?
You pinned the StreamYard link.
Oh, no way. So what? People can just jump in backstage whenever they want?
Yes.
All right, I better fix that.
I had someone do that before when I accidentally put the StreamYard link in the chat, and some motherfucker clicked on it within like half of a second. So I just permanently banned him from my backstage, and I deleted the chat. You remember that? And he's like, I wonder what happened. That was weird. It's like, yeah, because I always put a StreamYard link into my chat every week. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we're gonna have like 10 people now join the back room.
Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop. I have the noise turned on mine.
Oh shit! That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, guys. Give me a second while I just fix this.
Well, yeah. While you're fixing that, and to kind of like close the book on Bond here, I guess is like, look, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to establish that her character is on equal footing with James Bond, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they need to show that she can do what Bond can do. And the problem with that isn't her gender; it's the fact that makes Bond less special.
Yes,
like James Bond isn't just one of the agents in MI6. Like, he's the agent, right? He's the go-to, get the job done hero of that universe, and to show that other people are just on equal footing when it's not. Like, you can do it when, like, in GoldenEye, right? Sean Bean's character seemed to be pretty damn competent and everything, but he was the bad guy that Bond needed to face, so they needed to like make him to be a threat to Bond.
Mm-hmm.
But to just show that, like, yeah, Bond's just one of many, that decreases the value of his character.
Yep.
And to do it in its own movie is like kind of sacrilege, you would think. And and to bring it back to Star Wars, that's kind of like a lot of people like The Last Jedi because they want this. They like the idea that just Luke wasn't special; it could have been anybody.
Yep. And they like the idea that anyone can be special or anyone can use the Force, like Broom Boy.
Right. Everybody gets a trophy in the universe, and there isn't like, the big hero isn't the one guy that can get the job done.
Yep.
And the reason why you don't want that in your franchise or your movies is because that decreases the threat that the person, that the movie's trying to portray, is if like, oh, well, if Bond dies, just this other chick is going to come in and do the job instead of him, and nothing changes.
Yep.
Or in the Star Wars universe, if it wasn't Luke, it would have been Leia, it would have been somebody else, or Broom Boy, or anything. And then it's like, then the main character can die and it doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to watch. I'm not into that kind of subversion. I don't want to watch that.
Right.
I want to watch. I want to watch an actual hero. I want to see the main guy be the main guy, or the main girl be the main girl if it's a female franchise. But I don't want them to be just some everyman. They need to be special. It needs to be like only Bond could do this mission. Not just some like, well, M's sitting back there in headquarters, and she's just like randomly assigning missions to like she's throwing a dart at a dartboard. Like, well, we got this mission up, and throw a dart. Okay, Bond's got this one, but it could have been, could have been somebody else.
Well, I still think some of the older Bond movies, like Doctor No, From Russia with Love, I still think some of those are better, way better than some of the more recent ones. And they've even some of those have even got some corny moments in them, but they still work better than some of the shit that we're seeing more recently.
Well, Bond is trying to Bond used to be the lead.
Yeah.
People emulated Bond, and now Bond is just like, let's take a little bit of Jason Bourne and blend it with a little bit of Ethan Hunt, and that's our Bond character now.
Yep. Yes, don't forget to smash the like.
And that's what we're going to do for Bond. And instead of Bond setting the tone, Bond is following.
Yep. Well, it looks like he's following throughout this fucking entire movie.
Yeah. But, I'm speaking more like just they've lost their way as far as like what Bond should be. Like Bond should be much more fun, a lot less dour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see sad Bond or depressed Bond. I want to see like, hell yeah, give me the mission. This will be fun. Let's go do it kind of Bond.
Yep. Well, let's move on from Bond, shall we?
We shall.
Yeah.
I think. What are you guys' predictions, just quickly, for Bond, in regards to how well it's going to do, how well it's going to be received?
I don't think it's going to make what it needs to make, which is $900 million.
Yeah, because we don't use an asinine 60-40 split.
Well, asinine and unquantified, unqualified 60-40. Yes.
Right. Yeah. If somebody wants to explain, the 60-40, because I asked and I just got mocked for asking. But please, by all means, especially when the movie is probably going to do very well.
Norse gods can't do math. Yeah.
And it's probably going to do very well in China, and the box office take in China is 25 cents on the dollar. So if you're because China taxes the ever living fuck out of it, and you don't if you're the film studio in China's important. It does raise a lot of money, but the studios keep 25%. So if a movie's very heavily favored towards China, that decreases the overall margin from the worldwide box office. I think it'll do well. I don't know if it'll make money, but I think because it's in China, unlike the last couple of movies that we've been talking about, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, like it will have a much better worldwide box office than either one of those two.
Go on. Finish what you're gonna say.
Like the last Bond movie damn near did $1 billion, didn't it? So I know it's pre-coup. But
there is that factor to it. But I don't know. I feel like, again, the way that this is being pushed, promoted, whatever, talked about within articles, interviews, is just turning people off. And the way that Hollywood has gone with their entertainment just naturally has turned people off. So, yeah, back then it might have made that, but we've moved into this era now where there's not a lot of the audience out there that actually trusts Hollywood in any form of what they're doing at the moment, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be Bond, whether it be fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, whether it be whatever.
I think you're a little off in that assessment, simply because 95% of the movie-going audience doesn't know anything about any of this.
Yeah,
they see a TV spot, and that's the information that they're going on.
We did see a big reaction to, but Luke Skywalker.
We did in our social circles, and on YouTube and Twitter and things like that. But
there's still people out there that like, yeah, Star Wars is dead, although the Mandalorian's going in the right direction. Like, okay.
Yeah, but they're not following. They don't know anything about Gina Carano. They don't know Like you got to remember, like we're intensely following this stuff because we're interested in it. But the majority of your movie audience sees a trailer and that looks cool. I'm going to go see that, and that's the amount of research that they do before they buy their movie ticket. And that is the super, super, super majority of your movie going audience.
Yeah.
And
I've seen people that know about The Mandalorian just in the last week. And it's almost like they waited long enough and they think people have forgotten some of the stuff, including the firing. And they're talking about how it's the exception, you know? I've even heard the Bad Batch being called an exception to bad Disney Star Wars.
I can't wait until one of these
Greg.
fucking series comes up, like the Book of Boba Fett comes out or something, and we see like Snoke or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna. Oh, just to kind of as like, well, obviously they're going to connect it to the other stuff. I don't think that's even like I can wait because I have no interest in seeing it. But
it's not even a question, is what you're saying,
right? Yeah, and but my point is your average movie audience that's going to see a Bond movie isn't going to read any of these articles. They're not going to know any of this shit. So it's not going to impact their decision at all.
Yeah,
I think they look at a trailer and they go, "That looks cool. I want to go see it," and that's about it. Now, I think that when word of mouth after the release, that does impact it a little bit, but you know, especially for second weekend, like, you know, if it's well received and everybody's talking about it in a positive way, then yeah, more people are like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot. I'll go see it. But for the most part, it's just trailers and TV spots, 30 seconds. Like I remember sitting in a theater and, you know, they air the trailers before the movie starts. And I like, you know, I'll at the end of every trailer, I'll turn to my friend and be like, nope, not seeing that one. Or I might see that.
Me too. You know, me in movies, like, it takes a lot for me to devote 2-3 hours to something, and I hate trailers because they're never accurate. They always accentuate something, or they give away like all the. Have you ever done this? There's like a TV spot or a trailer with a funny moment, and everyone in the audience laughs, but then you go to see the actual movie and nobody laughs at that moment because they've already laughed at it in the trailer. Like,
right, and that's usually like their best like zinger for the like, especially for judging comedy in a trailer. I'm super harsh because I'm thinking to myself, you're putting your best shit in the trailer, and if that's your best shit, that movie's gonna not be funny.
Yeah,
you know? I'm like, if that's your A1 best joke, like, no thanks.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of how I look at it. Like, you know, that drove me away from seeing Ghostbusters 2016 more than anything. Is those trailer spots were awful. I'm like, it didn't. None of the other stories matter because I was just like, no, this looks. This comedy is just not even funny. Like that spot with like the power of Christ compel, like that whole like, nope, not interested.
I got a $10 super chat on Streamlabs from Jock Nerdy. Thank you, Jock Nerdy. He says, "The Last Jedi is what led me to all of you. After I left the theater in 2017, I was confused and figured I missed something. I took to the internet and eventually found Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic, and then all of you. So I have Disney to thank for that. Fuck Disney." Yes. Well,
yeah, it is weird how it kind of like that preceded everything, because like you say, like, oh, if you could wish The Last Jedi away, would you? And it's like, well, on one hand, we wouldn't have gotten The Last Jedi, which would be good, but on the second hand, it'd be like the odds of me knowing you, Ryno, or you, Tim, would be like almost zero.
Well,
it would be zero. I wouldn't have a channel. I would not have a channel if it wasn't for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, not only that, but it was an awakening. because
Yeah,
there
don't
was
use that
this
word.
stuff was going on before that, right? It
was
took
awakening.
something. It took exactly. It took something like Star Wars, and for that total destruction of Luke Skywalker, for a lot of people to realize, hey, franchises are being destroyed out there,
Mhm.
and to actually do something. It's just unfortunate that pretty much everyone's abandoned that, and now
Well, that's the thing I was about to
we're going
say.
to see Venom, we're going to see Bond, and all that.
The problem that I've found is that what I found that I was fighting for when it came to especially Star Wars, a lot of other people aren't fighting for the same thing.
No,
A
they're
lot.
fighting
And
for
they said that,
emotional moments.
and they said that they were, and they used that to build a platform, whatever, right? But there's a lot of people that used it
Yes.
and don't believe it, and I truly believe that.
Well, maybe they started out doing that, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute
it
here.
really came hammering home when I could say, I'll use one of my examples, hyperspace. I can say to somebody that they absolutely destroyed the laws behind hyperspace in the sequel trilogy, right? And I can have people sit there and go, you're fucking right. They fucking destroyed it, blah, 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 blah. And then I go, well, they do the same thing in The Mandalorian. Here, let me show you, right? And let me explain it all to you. And now I'm the fucking hater. I just hate Disney. Yes, I fucking hate Disney. They destroyed Star Wars. Don't you hate Disney? I mean, fuck, they destroyed Star Wars. They destroyed Luke Skywalker. Whether or not they bring him back, CGI Luke in the fucking Mandalorian, and he's swinging a lightsaber around and fucking the droids just stand there. Kill me. Like, it's stupid. They destroyed Star Wars, and people think that this Mandalorian series is a course correction. People are going to think that the Book of Boba Fett is a course correction. People think that the Obi-Wan series is going to be a course correction. Are you fucking crazy? It just doesn't add up.
But maybe it will be if you buy the right hat and go to the theme parks and to show them.
Yeah. Look, people are doing what people are doing out there, right? I can't control what people are doing, just like they can't control me getting the jab, let's say, right? You're entitled to your own fucking opinions. But when it's the example that I just gave, when I can sit there and say they destroyed this, right, in the sequel trilogy, and then I go, look at what they did in The Mandalorian, but it's chosen to be ignored. How? We're not fighting for the same thing. We're not.
Right.
I'm fighting for Star Wars. I'm fighting for the lore, the continuity, the characters. It seems that all people want is Luke Skywalker to be King Dick and fucking take over the universe, and that'll do it. That wouldn't do it for me. I'm telling you, it didn't in The Mandalorian.
Well, there's the other component about it is that, yeah, like after Last Jedi, there was a lot of people with a lot of different opinions that were allied against a common enemy, and they adapted or used a lot of the arguments that other groups were also using, called factions or whatever within the community. But ultimately, I think of a very good, and it's not just the emotional payoff people. I mean, that's one faction, but then the other faction is just, I don't want my SGWs in my fit. No politics.
Yeah, at least it's not woke. At least it's not woke.
So then the standard drifted from just like, we want good Star Wars to like, we just want, we'll be okay with mediocre to bad Star Wars, just as long as it doesn't have, SJW or identity politics in it. And like, for me, that was the SJW stuff was maybe the root cause of some of the motivations with the decisions that they made. But even taking that out, like turn Rey into a dude, is The Last Jedi a good movie?
Fuck no.
Is The Force Awakens a good movie?
Fuck no. None of
right.
the
So
none
like,
of them are good.
so
even if
you take away
agenda.
you take away that whole agenda angle and swap the genders, make Ray Ray instead of Rey, and there's still shit movies and there's still bad stories. So the whole like, well, we don't like the SJW parts because they just wanted their whammon power and all that nonsense. Okay, take that out of there, and those movies still suck.
Yep.
So
well, this is the other thing that I hate. There's another group of people out there, another group of fans out there that are like, oh, you're just EU elitists because they're actually giving you what you want. They're bringing the EU in. They grabbed a piece of the EU for the crate dragon, right? Isn't that what you wanted? Well, guess what, you fucking retard? No, that's not what we wanted. We wanted the expanded universe in context of what the expanded universe is. Not them saying this is no longer canon and then them picking shit out of it to put into their bullshit universe. Because their bullshit universe has no rules, has no limits. Anyone can do
it's just
unless you're a fucking guy, right?
It's just magic,
or a
you
child
can have
with a
magic
broom.
tech and magic powers, and yeah.
But they are they going to explain how tracking fobs work in fucking the book of Boba Fett?
Well, you know if they do, you know what the explanation is going to be, right?
Because this is fucking Disney Star Wars canon. This is what they've created. I'm telling you now, in the very first movie of Star Wars, when they introduced hyperspace into the story, we got a fucking explanation for how the fucking shit works.
We didn't get an explanation.
Without it seeming like Han Solo's looking down the barrel of the camera and saying, guys, you can't do this.
We didn't get so much of an explanation as far as like how technically it works. We got general rules for the limitations of it, which is a little bit different. Like I don't need to know exactly how a hyperspace drive works. Like,
no, I don't absolutely. Yeah.
I don't need the technical things. Oh, it creates this kind of field and it does this or all this, and this is how it gets its energy, and like here's all the ins and outs and the pseudo physics behind it all. Like I don't need to know any of that stuff, but I do need to know the established rules, like gravity wells impact it. You can't just jump to light speed without plotting a course because that's really dangerous. Like we got the limitations, and those limitations are necessary to produce the drama of the story. If you make them just magical devices that can take you anywhere instantaneously, then that really reduces reduces the threat level. And then conversely, like you had to have an explanation built into it, like, you can't just follow somebody with a radar in space or whatever to figure out where they're going. And that's what makes the rebels' tactics effective. Like the Empire just can't crush the rebellion because they can do these, like, basically guerrilla attacks.
Hyperdrive. That's interesting because in the hyperspeed skipping scene, everybody started asking, how do the TIE fighters, a hyperdrive is bigger than the TIE fighter's cockpit, sort of thing. So how do you fit a fucking hyperdrive? Oh, they miniaturized it. Since when? Like, you're now just making up shit to justify the bullshit you've come up with.
Well, and that's what they do. And that's what, if they explain tracking fobs, that's what they're going to do. And I can point to like the Baby Yoda explanation, right? So in that stupid Ahsoka episode, we got this dialogue explaining like how Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever the fuck, he was named in that episode. So Grogu in that episode, like how he came to be, how he has the ability to use Force, everything. Like, he was actually at the academy, but somebody snuck him out before Order 66.
Yeah,
we don't know who. We don't know why. We don't know why anybody else besides him, just him, got snuck out. Because
and then you hear stupid shit like this, Justifications. Again, I don't understand how the fans that say the sequel trilogy shit and they've destroyed Star Wars can say that is any good. That whole story about Grogu is any fucking good, right? But I always had this argument that in that final episode, there's this 30-second moment where Grogu and R2-D2 are literally standing there talking to each
you're
other.
Obsessed with that conversation.
Yeah, but you know why I'm obsessed with that conversation, right? Because the fucktards out there come out and go, oh, it was because it was R2 that saved him from the thing, so they know each other. And it's like, okay, so R2 didn't go to Mustafar with fucking Anakin. He saved Grogu instead. And what? He lifted his head off and said, climb in, kid. Like, are you fucking idiots?
But okay, then like, how does R2 remember him but not remember Anakin Skywalker or anything like that? Because I always assumed that R2 at some point had his memory wiped between the prequels and the original trilogy. Because you would think that Bail Organa would do that for security purposes. Like he knows too much. He knows Yoda survived. He knows who Anakin is. He knows that the kids were born. Like he knows way too much. So how would R2, even if it was R2 that saved him from the temple, like somehow like he got a weekend pass off from Luke, and then he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go hang out at the Jedi Temple, and while I'm there, I'm gonna kidnap this baby, Force user, and take him somewhere where we don't know, give him to whom, don't know, but he does that and just gives him to somebody else to take care of, just on his own, because he had a premonition that some bad shit was going to go down, because R2D2 is apparently can see the future. And I mean, you see, and then at some point he gets his memory wiped. So even then, how would he know? Like, oh, they knew each other. Well, how? Like maybe Grogu could recognize R2D2, but R2D2 would not recognize him.
Yeah.
Like it's
like,
just
even
there's no plausible good explanation for R2 saving him from the temple.
No.
It's like it doesn't even pass the first test. Why?
But like that means that fucking Palpatine failed as well from the, like he didn't purge all the Jedi.
Order 66 is the least effective order that he ever gave.
Yeah. There's so many Jedi that fucking, you got Kanan Jarrus, you got fucking Grogu, who actually was in the temple when the attack happened. Like, oh my god, okay.
All those Jedi that
sense.
survived after Cal Kestis from the
and then you read the Revenge of the Sith novel, and the only person that Anakin goes and asks for is Shakti. Where's Shakti? That's all he asks. He doesn't go, where's Shakti? And I better kill Grogu as well, because he's going to be a powerful Jedi in the future.
Because he looks like Yoda.
It's so stupid. But then, they bring in characters like Thrawn. And then you get these announcements or these rumors that they're going to bring in Mara Jade, and people are actually excited for that. Okay, let me put this in perspective for you. I've just started reading the New Jedi Order. I think it's that series. Absolutely awesome so far. And like Mara's role throughout the Thrawn trilogy and moving forward, you can't bring her into this story. You can, exactly the same way that you brought Thrawn in, basically slate clean, and it's that in name only. But like, to bring Mara in, Mara Jade, to bring Thrawn in, like to bring Revan in, again, wait till they see what they do with that game. It's scary. It's scary because they're pulling it apart. And what they wanted, creative freedom. What's creative freedom? In their definition of creative freedom, what is that? Their definition of creative freedom is literally going, oh yeah, people like that character. Thank you. That's creative freedom in their eyes.
They like the appearance of that character and the name of the character, because that's really the only thing that they kind of borrow. They mix and match
Well, this is going to be
Boba
Boba Fett in name only as well. The fact that Boba Fett,
of course, it is.
The fact that Boba Fett polished his armor and made it look all pristine, fans should have been pissed about that. He is a warrior. Those are battle scars.
Well, let's talk about Boba here. Let's talk about Boba. So, Boba Fett gets out of the Sarlacc pit, which Disney has never explained. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is somebody that's an imposter because they have not shown us that. And like that was, I know he escapes the Sarlacc pit in the expanded universe.
But it's explained. The expanded universe doesn't exist anymore. You can't just go.
So you wipe that out, so
you
you can't refer it. It's a null reference. You're referring to something that doesn't exist.
Yep.
So we haven't gotten an explanation as far as that goes. But okay, so he gets out, and he knows that this other dude in some dumbass community on Tatooine that routinely has these gigantic creatures tunneling underneath their city's main street. But they all still live there for no reason. He's got the armor, but he doesn't go take the armor. He doesn't go even ask for the armor back or try to buy it off the dude. He just waits for years because this takes place. The Mandalorian takes place in 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Yep. So, like, obviously, Boba Fett wouldn't have lived years in the Sarlacc pit, so he escaped within, let's give it a year, right? So otherwise, like, I would assume then he would have suffered, some pretty serious, like he wouldn't have survived if he'd lived longer than that under there. But all right, so 4 years he's just biding his time, wandering around the desert on Tatooine, keeping an eye on this guy. Mandalorian shows up, gets the armor from him. He then tracks the Mandalorian instead of confronting him then and there and saying, "Hey, here's the chain code. That's my suit." He decides, no, I'm going to hang back. He waits all that time. He gets the thing back, but then is grateful. So he helps Din Djarin on a mission. Well, he was the taxi driver for the mission because he didn't really help in any other way. He was he drove the ship. So, thank you, Uber driver Boba Fett. Then when that's all done, what does he do? He goes all the way back to Tatooine to murder what's his name? Bib Fortuna. To take over
Jabba's
crimes.
And
his crime syndicate. And this is a guy who said, like, I'm just trying to make my way in the world.
Are you telling me that the Hutts didn't take over Jabba's fucking... It was Bib Fortuna that took over instead of another Hutt?
Yeah, apparently. And like...
fucking ridiculous.
But why does Boba Fett want to take over Jabba's business?
Because he's just a simple guy trying to make his way in the galaxy.
Right, but they're like oh, okay.
I was being facetious.
Yeah, like that's the answer. Like he doesn't really have a reason. He does. Because it looks cool.
Well, the other thing too is Tim just dropped a video actually about Boba Fett. Isn't that right, Tim? You're not asleep? No. So, yeah, he is. You could hear him breathing, couldn't you? It's getting late for him. But Tim did just drop a video, and it basically tells his story going through the new Jedi Order and how he helps Jaina and how he's got a daughter and all of this kind of stuff. I feel like if they had have just kept to the EU, they would have had their strong female characters. The thing is that they wanted to pander to an audience that didn't exist. And they've completely fucked it. Because now that audience that didn't exist, they've created this fucking retarded Twilight audience that actually doesn't care or doesn't understand the lore of Star Wars, the universe of Star Wars. All they care about is seeing themselves in this sci-fi. Like, it's the biggest thing in, ever made. Like, it's just bullshit.
Rhetorical Phil says the biggest and most powerful organized crime syndicate just let it all go. Yeah, apparently, in a time period where crime syndicates you think would have flourished, there was a huge power vacuum. The New Republic you assume took a while to kind of get established. They spent years arguing over how it's going to be organized and all that stuff because the previous focus was just getting rid of the emperor. That was the goal. But now, okay, you did, but I guess you didn't. But you thought you did anyway. And so now you have to actually govern. And that would have been a time period that the Hutts should have thrived.
But in Disney's Star Wars, the Hutts never controlled Tatooine after the Empire took over. The Empire took over Tatooine, which was never the case. That's why Obi-Wan was able to go back to Tatooine.
Why the fuck would the Empire have anything to do with Tatooine?
Why would they care about Tatooine? It
has no resources.
Let that be controlled by the Hutts, right? Because they're an evil organization, so why not, right? And that's why Obi-Wan was able to go to Tatooine with Luke and be not found. And now we're going to have an Obi-Wan series where he's discovered, and then for the next 9 years, because Obi-Wan is going to take place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and 9 years before. No, that's not right. Is it 9 years or 6 years? I can't remember. One of them.
I don't know.
So that means that if they... I'm pretty much doing a video on it, and I will get it out hopefully soon, but that they just keep destroying shit. And the funny thing is they keep plucking stuff from the EU and going, well, the fans are going to like it because it's this. But no, you're not even telling the story.
They're going to like the reference, but they're not going to. I mean, they don't even port them over correctly. But think about this. Why would the Empire have any interest into strategically controlling that planet at all? It's a fucking sand rock.
Yeah.
What do people do on the sand rock to make money? They farm water out of the air. And just a hop, skip, and a jump away is Naboo, which is fucking half ocean. Go get the water there.
Mm-hmm.
The Gungans would be the wealthiest people in the universe if water was that valuable that they had to farm it out of the air on Tatooine. The point of Tatooine is what did Luke say? If there's a bright center of the universe, this is the farthest spot from it. Nobody's interested in the planet. The Empire would have no interest devoting any resource. The Empire were plunderers.
Mm-hmm.
They were interested in planets that were of strategic value or had resources to mine and harvest and essentially steal. Mm-hmm. There's no resource on Tatooine of any value.
But then,
so this idea, that's why the Hutts lived there. It was out of the arm of the law, because even in the New Republic, even in the Republic era, nobody gave a shit about Tatooine.
Yeah,
it was a planet that had slaves. In episode 1, when the Republic was the Republic, a fully in control governing body, and it allowed slavery on fucking Tatooine because nobody gave a shit about Tatooine.
But it's also like Tython in that episode. They find the planet like that. It's supposed to be this hard planet to find. They change its positioning. When you look at the expanded universe and you look at Lucas's Star Wars and you go and look at a map of the universe, it's mapped out. You've got hyperspace lanes there. You've got fucking planets, you've got systems, you got this, you got that. It's all perfectly mapped out, and you can see why it would take this long to get to certain place. All of that, right? Does Disney Star Wars have a map of their universe? Because they're moving planets all over the place. We still haven't even seen Coruscant yet. Are you seriously?
I don't think we ever will.
I don't think so either. They changed the name of the Sith homeworld.
But if you look at the style of what we've seen so far from The Mandalorian, if you look at what we've seen from The Mandalorian so far, it's all cities that are at most 2 stories tall, and they're spread out, but there's one main lane. They're all they're all Mos Eisley. And just one's on the coast and on Frog Planet or whatever with the JCPenney's store. Like they're all everything. I mean, aesthetically they look a little bit different, but essentially they're just the same. That we've yet to see a major metropolis of any kind, much less Coruscant. Like we haven't seen a major city. Period. It's all these.
We just see deserts.
It's all these small towns of like maybe like a couple thousand people.
Yeah. And there's all this sort of corruption, betting, and this and that going on everywhere he goes, and it's
it's like those like unincorporated nothing towns that you travel through, and where it's basically like here's the town, blink and you'll miss it. It's 4 houses, 2 bars, and a church.
Yeah. But then, like, even with this, right? His story is only beginning. Okay. Wouldn't it? If I was going to tell a Boba Fett story, it would either be moving forward to the New Jedi Order sort of series stuff, or you would tell his bounty hunter stories before he fucking ended up in the Sarlacc pit. He's fucking on the other. He's over the hump, people.
Right.
How
you tell the story how he went from Boba Brat to Boba Fett.
Yeah, exactly. Which they sort of started to do in the Clone Wars animated stuff. But you know what the biggest controversy behind this poster is right now? By the way, it's due to be out on Disney Plus on the 29th of December. It'll be interesting to see how this goes up against Cobra Kai. But the thing that I hate is that Cobra Kai is going to release it all at once. So within a week, it's going to have its hype all done and dusted. Whereas this is going to be released week by week. And it's going to be, oh my God, we got fucking Ahsoka. Oh my God, we got fucking all this stuff. Oh, look, Tim's awake. But the biggest controversy behind this fucking poster is the man spreading. Believe it or not, there are people on Twitter spurging out about his man spread, and then there are people that are thirsting over the man spread. Oh my God, Boba Fett, sit like that. I'm sorry, I'm sitting in my chair right now. If you can't see, my legs are sort of open, right? Because I'm a dude.
Clipped.
I got a dick and balls between my fucking legs. That's why
he's a Disney character, so he doesn't have a dick and balls.
I need to give it some air. I need to give it some space, right? I'm sorry, but that's how men sit. It's very hard for a man to sit there with his legs crossed because he's got to fucking adjust his balls so he doesn't squash them between his legs. It's such a stupid thing. People are so pissed.
Well, and it's like he's man spreading in a single chair. So like, who's that hurting? Like,
exactly.
Is somebody going to sit next to him?
It's not like he's on a train and he's got fucking people next to him and he's just sitting there like this.
Like, even if you think that man spreading is bad, it's like he's on a throne. Like, he's the only one in the chair. So like, he's not impeding anybody else. But he doesn't. Yeah, Bundy.
There it is.
There it is.
And people are so excited for this. Oh my God, it's happening. Yeah, it's happening. They're going to destroy another character, you fucking idiot.
So they're willing to nitpick the position of his legs in a promo shot, but they're not willing to get into any of the insanely stupid plot points of The Mandalorian, if you want to call it a plot.
So look at some of the quote tweets.
Like, that picture reveals nothing that we didn't already see in like the little stinger at the end of Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, is he sitting that way in that scene? I don't remember.
Well, I mean, like he's in that chair. Like this reveals actually zero. It's just a fucking picture of the character. But everybody loves Boba Fett, so I personally hate him. But whatever.
This news we can all use. Okay, like this is a thing. Like people are just. John and Dave, they won the Civil War, and now we're moving forward with Star Wars. I can't wait for the day when actually people's eyes get opened. Fucking.
Well, funny, like, do you think they're going to actually make him be competent, or do you think he's just going to be as dumb?
No, Fennec Shan's going to be the one that's competent.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. The sidekick with the bionic intestines.
Yeah, she's
that
gonna
was-
be she's
that,
gonna
that
be
were
the one.
repaired and the highly sophisticated and galaxy renowned abdominal cybernetics medical facility on Tatooine.
Mhm.
There's a lot more praise than it is for. The only reason why I saw that I watched Yellow Flash's video. He did a video on a few people's Spurgeon. I got to go back and try and find some of those because I'm going to do a video on it as well because I just think it's stupid. It's such a stupid thing. It's a fucking poster. Did you see the Visions poster? They didn't fill it out. You know, it probably would have. The Visions poster probably would have benefited from having a Boba Fett sit there with his legs open because it would have filled the poster out more. Like I don't know. Like I really love Star Wars, and I really want to be excited for something Star Wars. And this is why, like, people ask me. I had a tweet last night. If I'd watched Visions yet, and I haven't watched it. I really don't have an interest in watching it. Lethal saying he's proud of me, but I don't like anime, and it's not canon. And from what I have seen, it's just, even though it's not canon, it's doing damage to the legacy of Star Wars, so to speak, in regards to the way they use their lightsabers and things like that. So it's just not something that I'm really interested in watching, to be honest with you. I said maybe one day I might sit down and give it a watch. But, you know, they said that some people have been saying that they're going to see what the reactions are to all of these different episodes, and they might make one into a series. Okay, good. Go and pander to your fucking anime audience. Fine, go for it. It's not canon.
Yeah.
But this is. Already it's destructive. Because the Hutts, again, we come back to that. The Hutts wouldn't have allowed this. The Hutts wouldn't have allowed Bib Fortuna to be sitting on the throne. He would have still been a slave to the next Hutt that came in and took over Jabba's fucking empire. Everything Jabba owned. It's such a stupid premise. And the thing that I can't stand is that people can't see it, right? They can see it in the sequels, but it all had to do with the character destruction. As soon as you get your Luke Skywalker moment, we're all sweet, right? Fucking law and continuity don't matter as long as you get your emotional payoff, right? Correct?
Right. But, like, why would Bib Fortuna, like, let's just say the Hutts didn't care, right? And they're just like, fuck it, we're gonna start our own religion, and that's what we'll do. Bib Fortuna, like, watch Return of the Jedi. Like, did he seem like somebody who could control or run a crime syndicate? He was a fucking, like, court jester stooge. Like, he wasn't. He did not strike any sort of, like. He didn't seem to me like any sort of mastermind or alpha kind of person. He was Jabba's fucking wet nurse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's so many parts of The Mandalorian that's so fucking dumb. Shit that's just not explained. Like Fennec Shan's fucking half droid body. Oh, but fucking Vader.
I'm telling you, Tatooine
he was more machine
incredible
than man,
medical
remember?
facilities.
But Vader was more machine than man. So why can't Fennec have like this fucking retards?
Yeah, because like Vader was rescued personally by the Empire and the Emperor and his medical people. Like,
and
because the Emperor like sensed things were going bad.
And the Force helped keep him alive.
Yeah,
I remember that scene when he opened panels on his body to show his innards.
Yeah, just be like, hey, we better show something on there because it really looked like she died in the first season.
I know.
Episode.
Remember, they showed his helmet off in Empire Strikes Back, guys.
God.
You know the member berries, the nostalgia. It worked. It worked brilliantly for them.
If
Well,
it sounds,
people-
if it looks, if it
Feels.
smells.
Apparently, all it has to do is feel a bit like Star Wars, and we're
Yeah.
okay.
Remember season 1, right? When that episode happened and Fennec Shan clearly died. Like people couldn't stop coming in their pants because they heard the jingle
Spurs,
of
yeah,
fucking
Spurs.
Boba Fett's spurs. They were just like, they furiously masturbated all the way to the end of the season.
Mhm. And again, you look at Boba Fett's story in the expanded universe. I was saying while you were asleep there, Tim, I was mentioning that you recently just dropped a video about Boba Fett in the expanded universe. Really, really good video. Are you even there now, Tim?
What?
Thanks, sir.
I just mentioned your video about Boba
Yeah, I heard
Fett.
you,
the one- yeah. Really fucking good. And again, his story, he's got a daughter, right? Boba's got a daughter.
Yeah.
Jaina goes to him for help. And then Jaina ends up being the hero of the story, essentially. Like, you wanted female characters, you had them.
Yeah.
Oh, Boba Fett had a daughter? Wow,
Yeah.
that's wow, he got more pussy than his father, who had to get cloners to give himself a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had that in the comics
Mm-hmm.
when they show his wife, and then he left her and the baby. Yeah.
How did you know I must have been?
Mhm.
How did you know that? Excuse me.
I
'Cause
could
Greg
just tell
knows
by all
the
I
modern
could just
fan.
tell by all the excitement. I mean, they're like the reason why episodes 7 and 8 of season 1 got such a pass is because people were just so fucking raw that they were relieved the season was over. I mean, because they've been rubbing it for like weeks.
Oh, jeez.
But like, go back. Like I was like, we've talked on this show a lot because this show didn't exist really in season 1. And we've talked a lot about season 2, but go back. Season 1 is pretty fucking awful.
Oh yeah.
Like episodes
Oh, yeah.
7 and 8 are some of the dumbest TV that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Like just that final episode, like the absolute nonsense that takes place in that episode. Like literally the whole we're gonna close the top on his little carrier and then they won't know it's empty because that faction doesn't all carry like hundreds of fucking fobs that could immediately tell if the fucker was present within a few feet for sure, or even on the planet, and where exactly on the planet he was. Because remember tracking fobs?
Yeah.
Remember where it showed that whole room of people that all had a tracking fob for Baby Yoda?
Yep.
Apparently, they forgot about him in episode 7 and 8. So their whole plot would have been defeated by one guy going, "Hey, there's no fucking Baby Yoda in that fucking pod."
Yeah.
Well, it just astounds me that you guys can remember like episode numbers and what happened in them. I just remember events, but I don't really remember when they happened in the season.
I can remember because each episode is sort of segmented and you can sort of pick by cameos and stuff like that what episode you're up to.
Like the one with go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, you can actually if you follow, just like I said, the cameo appearances, really. I mean, in the first season, there wasn't really too many cameos, but
references, but not cameos.
Yeah.
Well, just like
we are going to be wrapping up soon, dude. Sorry. I'll definitely get you on soon.
Just like Evil Assassin bitch episode, and they're going across the desert on Swoops or whatever. Like, I couldn't tell you which episode of the season it is, but I can tell you everything that happens in it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I got a comment on my Slave One video from months ago, and this guy was basically saying that it's people like us that are snowflakes because we can't handle the changing of the name from Slave One to Boba Fett Starship. So we're the snowflakes, guys. Because it's sensible to change the name because it helps you avoid anyone who's too lazy to look up the context of what Slave One means. About he gave a couple of other examples. My response to him was not very nice. I'll just put it that way. So later on, guys, go to that video and watch find the most recent comment. My reply to that moron.
Well, that's just so it's so dumb on its face because look, every single trilogy, every one, prequel, OT, and sequel, or Disney, all have depictions and direct references and show slavery in action.
Yes.
Like, just you can't have the word slave in it. It'd be like, what was Anakin Skywalker when they found him in episode 1? Slave. Last Jedi. What was Broom Boy?
Yeah, but not only that. Like Anakin said, he wanted to come back and save all the slaves. You know,
what happened?
He wasn't the only slave. The fucking entire planet is basically run by slavery.
Yeah, the entire Wookiee race, slaves.
Yeah.
Well, my video goes into the context of the name, and that's what I told this guy, but in very harsh words, that people like him don't understand the context, and we don't pander to people that are dumb. When you do that, you wind up with idiocracy.
Well, it's kind of like okay, you're going to change the name to Slave One. It's the same as changing the name of X-Men.
Yes.
If anything, I think the X-Men thing is worse.
He compared it to the Washington Redskins. Like, you know, you should change that because someone that doesn't want to look into it further may see the name and say, oh no, this is bad. Then why don't we just change everything?
And most of those people that look into it don't look into it and just say that it's bad are white fucking dickheads.
Yeah, and why don't we all just wear this
types?
Let's all wear the same clothes and have the same haircut. Let's all be the same. That way there's no confusing what we're trying to convey, and no one can take anything the wrong way. That's what these bots, that's how their small minds work, guys.
Yep. I just wish that those people would care more about actual slavery that exists on this planet in this moment right now than any references to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like what is sex trafficking? What would you call a girl that sex trafficked?
Slave labor.
Yeah.
Well, look what Trey's saying, and what's funny is, I think it was that Junk Man beat me to this, but I was gonna make a meme or whatever that snowtroopers would be next. And then Junkman beat me to it. Like the morning of the day I was going to do it, he put out a tweet or something like that. And they will be next because, you know, it has the narrow eyes and kind of looks like a hood and all that stuff.
What was Finn?
Who?
Oh.
Finn's character. Stolen
Finn.
From a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Forced, conscripted into the army. Finn was a slave.
Yep.
But you don't name a ship after it.
Yeah, but see, that's like this. There are people out there that actually think that
the bad guy ship,
the name of the ship, whereas it's just his call sign. Nothing more to it. It was like I was reading Onslaught on New Jedi Order. And Jaina goes off and flies with Rogue Squadron, and her call sign is Rogue 11, but then just gets turned into Styx because the ship that she's in is known for having a stick as opposed to something else, and she
Well, no,
also
it's
carries a lightsaber.
well, the stick is like the control stick.
The
Yeah,
control stick, yeah. But
yeah,
apparently
and
it's
her
different.
lightsaber. Yeah.
Apparently it's different from some of the other ships. But it's like that's a call sign. It's not the ship is called Styx. It's not that the call sign. People don't understand these concepts. And if they do understand them, they choose to ignore them because they just want it to be good. It's kind of like those people out there that go, I can't hate it, it's Star Wars. Well, yeah, you can, because it ain't Star Wars. So you're praising this thing that's not Star Wars, but you're saying that you have to like it because you got to like Star Wars.
Yeah, nothing says loyalty more than just blind loyalty to a brand name and accepting no matter anything that they serve you, as long as it's called the right thing.
How do you think George Lucas feels when he sees these people that praised him for his work coming out and saying, "Oh, the Mandalorian," like all this kind of stuff? I couldn't imagine what he thinks of the Mandalorian.
Honestly, I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares either. But if he was in a position where he still did care, I couldn't imagine what he thinks of it.
Like I think like George Lucas, like, and I don't know the man at all, but I think he would be more fascinated by the filming process that they're using for the show than anything actually about the show.
Yeah, that's probably why he was.
I could see him going to set and be like, "No, show me the screen thingies that you got." So yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, good point, Uncle Megatron. Don't be loyal to a fault.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Blind obedience to a brand name or a company. Like
it's just as bad.
How do you justify that? How do you justify it? No standards.
It's just as bad as the government saying you've got to be vaxxed and you go, okay. That's what it is.
Ooh, show us your biceps, sir.
I don't have biceps. I got sticks. Yeah, by sticks. But yeah, look, I just saw the poster. I saw people that were sort of spoken out about his man spreading. They've announced the release date.
I can believe it, but how stupid.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking ridiculous. But
yeah, look at that chair. He could be like Fennec Shan could be sitting right next to him if he wasn't.
The thing is what's he supposed to do? Sit there with his legs together in that chair? How stupid would that look?
Would that even work considering this cod piece and everything for the armor? Like that would, like I would think the armor in and of itself would probably prevent sitting, knee to
legs
knee
together. True. True.
I can guarantee I'm sitting. I'm fucking. I'm
either way. What a boring piece of art,
Yeah, that too. Again, this reveals absolutely nothing. It's a picture of the character in a chair.
Wow. It's minimalist garbage, is what it is.
Yeah, the chair is supposed to mean something. It'd be like, oh, that's Jabba's throne. Like, I don't think he would have fit in it. So, like,
yeah,
what does
how
this
did
chair
he
even
fit
mean?
into that? Exactly.
And this is just some piece of furniture that dumbass
Bid Fortuna put there.
Bought. He's like, I
bought
bought that off some Jawas.
But it all makes sense because we got Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, just before
I don't think we won't get him in this one. Like there'll be some cameo.
Fuck, man, almost a guarantee.
Han Solo.
And Ahsoka.
They're gonna bring back.
He'll be able to give Ahsoka information on how to find Thrawn or something. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I can't remember now. Fuck. I've completely lost it. I've completely blanked on it. Anyway, I truly feel that they're going to destroy the character of Boba. I truly feel that they're going to destroy the character of Obi-Wan when it comes to that series, and Vader, and that entire story between those two. This is the thing. Even if, let's say, Obi-Wan fights an Inquisitor, doesn't even fight Vader. Let's say he just fights an Inquisitor.
Oh, he better have a helicopter saber then.
And let's say he kills the Inquisitor with his lightsaber. What would Vader do under those circumstances? Fucking killed by a lightsaber? We need to find this Jedi.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna show Obi-Wan like, cleaning him up. He'd be like, I need some lime and I need some acid, and we're just gonna we're gonna melt the Inquisitor so there's no evidence.
I really don't see how people I'm not sorry to say, Star Wars theory can be excited for the Boba Fett. I mean, for Obi-Wan.
But as far as Boba Fett, so you said they're going to ruin Boba Fett. They already have.
Well, yeah, they already have. No, you're right.
They already have. More. They made him wander the desert. They made him an idiot and a taxi driver, and now a crime syndicate leader.
And the most important thing to him was to polish up his armor.
Right. Yeah, he did that. He did that off screen between episodes at some point, but because that was his priority.
Toys. Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Right.
Mandalorian the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what baby character they're going to have in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know who the baby character is going to be in the Obi-Wan show. He's going to be Leia. The babysitter in space and the connection, and Obi-Wan will be the one to teach Leia a few things about the Force and shit. But yeah, you know who the baby will be in this? It'll be Bulba's child that they made in the Clone Wars animated stuff.
What?
Jabba. Jabba had a son.
Yeah, that was.
Fucking.
So that'll be the baby. It'll be a baby slug that Boba will be taken care of to retake over his father's throne because he's a good man like that.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Boba Fett secretly was paid off by Jabba, and Jabba's like, "Hey, if I die, this is what I need you to do. I need you to kill whoever takes my thing,
dude. You know,
find my son and install him."
The cameos that we're going to see in this series are going to be Bosk, Cad Bane, IG-88, all the ones that were standing there in Empire with Vader around. There's going to be so many cameos, and again, it's going to get so many people again. It's going to get so many people again. And look, I don't know whether or not there's going to be a third season of The Mandalorian. If there is going to be a third season of The Mandalorian, I don't think it's going to be the same as what it was in the first two seasons. It's going to be more about Bo-Katan now just trying to get the Darksaber or something. I'm not even really that interested, to be honest with you.
No.
Like, the stories are so shit.
No.
The what they've done
the characters are shit too, though. Like,
the characters are shit.
The Mandalorian lacks on every single level except for some base aesthetics.
Yep.
And even then, like, I would highly question.
That's all that matters, because it feels like Star Wars then, right?
Right.
Yep.
But like, the plot is just absolute nonsense. At best, it's a series of video game fetch quests. Talked about that at end, but none of the characters in the show are interesting or compelling in any way. Like, Din Djarin's a fucking retard. He's just an absolute bumbling, incompetent fucking buffoon.
Mm-hmm.
And not even brave. Like, he doesn't have any redeeming qualities other than he decided that he was going to take care of the little brat. Right? That's his only, like, redeeming quality. Everything else, like, as far as competence goes, he's like blind lucky, or he just utterly fails, or he gets rescued by somebody else. Yeah. But then, like, Cara Dune's character, one-dimensional, kind of a nothing. I know people like Gina Carano, but like the character Cara Dune was not interesting.
Not only was she one-dimensional, from season 1 to season 2, she's two different people.
Yeah, and like try and reconcile her story and be like, she was a shock trooper.
She was
for the rebellion.
Shock trooper that defected, that would have been arrested by the New Republic when the
She
New
didn't really
Republic
defect to any side. She like maybe went AWOL.
enough for her to get arrested by the New Republic. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Right? So she does that. Then Miyagi shows up, has a conversation with her, doesn't arrest her, right? But then she becomes a warden of the New Republic. Off screen.
Just cause.
Just cause.
Like we don't even like I don't even understand like why she chose to stay on Navarro with
Grief Karga.
Apollo Calrissian.
Yeah.
Good grief Karga. Yeah.
No, he's Apollo
Calrissian.
So he's not quite Apollo, but he's not quite Lando. So like I don't know like why she stayed there to help him like clean up the planet or whatever. Like I don't understand why he did that. Like none of like the characters don't act consistently with
not at all.
Like we're given no explanation of like why Apollo Calrissian decided that like he was going to give up the entire bounty hunting guild and leading that and decide to like install schools and stuff on this little fucking hut town on Navarro, which is Lava Tatooine.
Oh, it's because Baby Yoda force healed him, which force healed his mind, if you remember, because that's what that does. But then we get context that apparently that can only happen as a dyad. So who's fucking Grogu a dyad with? Like, again, they're still constantly trying to write it. They're constantly trying to write it. But, you know, when Grogu healed Grief Karga, it healed his mind from the dark side. That's why he executed his own guys, and he decided to make schools and stuff instead of bounties. Okay. You know, bounty hunting
stayed for the D.
Bounty hunting in this universe is a legitimate like profession. Bounty hunters, they don't go into a fucking a bar or something like that and get arrested because they're a bounty hunter. It's a job. People put bounties.
No, like
the New Republic put bounties out on people's heads.
Yeah, but I think they're like going for like it's like the galaxy is like Skyrim, right? Like you just go to the local inn and the innkeeper bartender guy's got like a bunch of missions he can give you. And that's what you do if you're bounty hunters. You just kind of wander, you find the local inn and be like, hey, any jobs around town? And then you go do them. That's the depth level. But like,
got any tracking fobs?
Yeah, right. There's just there's no character development. There's no plot. I mean, it's just fucking empty shell of nothing.
Mm-hmm. There's a 70% chance that any stream with the three of us will inevitably wind up talking about The Mandalorian.
Passionately I hate The Mandalorian more than I hate the sequel or the Disney trilogy, to be honest with you.
And why is that, Greg? Because I'm kind of the same. Why is that?
Because I think it needs to be said more, and I think a lot of people can acknowledge that the Disney trilogy sucked, and so
I think people have been sucked into this idea that there's some sort of civil war going on, and that John and Dave won a civil war, and people just love John and Dave because they're the saviors of Star Wars. That's why
I look at it as
hate it more.
What I hated about what I hate about both is not that the identity politics and SJW mentality that like the sequel or the Disney trilogy bothered me because it violated the characters. It violated it had nonsense plot, lore breaking shit. Like they weren't good stories. They weren't good movies. And that's just The Mandalorian as well. But The Mandalorian seems to get a lot of passes, and that's why I become more passionate about disliking The Mandalorian than the Disney trilogy.
Hey, Joseph, thanks for coming by, buddy.
because I think people should be as outraged and disappointed, or at the very least disappointed with the Mandalorian, because it's such an empty, like there's just nothing there. It's just all calories but bad tasting at the same time. Like there's just no value to it, and I don't know. I think actually the plot is worse in The Mandalorian, especially season 2 overall, than the Disney trilogy.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually think they do a fair bit of character destruction in that as well. Just not really to legacy characters, I guess, to their own characters more than the legacy characters. Although they
and I'll tell you, the one thing that the Disney trilogy has over The Mandalorian is that, you know, and I know a lot of people hate or dislike Rey, but like at least Rey, can't believe I'm defending Rey in a way, but like I think Rey is a better character than Din Djarin. Like, yes, she's OP, she's a Mary Sue, but she's not retarded. Like, I think she gets things way too easily, but like, she was retarded in The Last Jedi with like, hey, I'm going to go like turn myself into
I think it's all bad.
Well, it is. We're talking variations. We're like just
minor variations,
very stinky piles of shit. And then you're just comparing like which one smells worse.
Yeah.
Like at least Rey, like you can actually like root for Rey as a character at least, because like she's OP and everything, but she's like at least trying to do the right thing. Like I don't even know what the fuck. Like Din Djarin, just fucking an idiot.
He's taken along for the ride. It's a Grogu's story, and that's also
like
why I'm
and Rey takes matters into her own hands, and like it's kind of an annoying thing about that she just kind of takes control and be like, you know, don't hold my hand, and I'll rescue myself and get myself out. You don't need to break me out, like, and everything. But like Din Djarin is just a helpless victim that constantly needs assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like if Bo-Katan and her idiot sidekicks weren't like flying over the ship at that time, like Din Djarin's dead.
Yeah, but they were
like he's absolutely drowned.
They were watching him the whole time, and just, you know, even though
they didn't bother like talking to him like while he was in the city. They waited till he was out to sea, and then
that whole story of finding fucking Mandalorians is ridiculous anyway. So he goes back to the mechanic lady who's playing cards with an ant. The ant knows the frog. The frog has a husband. The husband knows a bartender.
There wasn't
the
a little
bartender
lady
knows
who
some
knew
pirates
an ant, who knew
that don't know any Mandalorians.
Frog.
Like, if you go through that series of events, he's trying to find Mandalorians because that's going to help him find Jedi. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but he goes, I said, he goes to the mechanic lady on Tatooine who's playing cards with an ant, who knows a frog, who has a husband, who knows the bartender, who knows some pirates that don't know Mandalorians.
And they just so happen to be there anyway, hanging out in fish.
And that's right. And they just happen to be there at the right time in the middle of fucking nowhere. Fucking Grogu gets eaten by some fucking sea worm, and he gets put in the thing, and he's like, no, help me. And then fucking they come along, and the chick jumps in, pew, 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 under the water, just happens to pull the fucking cot out of the fucking mouth, comes out, and he's like, oh, thank you, I needed your help. It's great storytelling. Absolutely. It's fucking garbage. And this, I've just...
In that episode, he was so cucked. Because, like, even past that, right? So the mission where they have to like board the ship that's got the dude that knows where Gideon is or whatever. And it has some supply. I don't even remember the reason, but it was convoluted and stupid anyway. But if you go watch those scenes, it's like Bo-Katan and her sidekicks like do all the work, and Din Djarin's just like following like 20 feet back, just kind of like
Yeah.
And until the scene where they get to the door where he's got to throw the pucks.
Oh my!
After he's getting hit 100,000 times.
Yeah.
In his armor, like he couldn't throw the puck from further away. He had to run and then throw the puck.
It was
and they couldn't just close the door.
It's funny that you bring that up because I was actually watching London Has Fallen last night. I don't mind the movie, but there's this one bit where he's sort of pinned up against the wall, and this van rolls out, and they've got like a machine gun in the side of the van, and they're just shooting. And he literally pulls the pin out of the grenade and throws it further than Din Djarin did, but doesn't throw it like that. Throws it like that, right? So he's like around the wall, and he throws it that way, and the grenade travels further from him doing that, right, than Din Djarin. Pew, 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 pew. Not even missing between the armor, just hitting the armor. It's like magnetized. Great storytelling for him to go like a little cup.
Yeah,
and
right. That he could have thrown from the hallway because this is a smooth floor.
How far? But hang on, how far did he throw them? Right, with that little to the point where they didn't actually the blood explosion didn't affect him. He's that close to the fucking explosion that he should have blown backwards.
Well, like even that, like you could have thrown, like it was a smooth floor, and these are like little puck things. Like,
fucking slide it
almost
on the ground.
anybody could slide them along the floor the entire length of the hallway.
But no, we're gonna have him
Like
having his moment because
there's no reason to actually have to like charge to throw those things.
No, there is because they couldn't. There is a reason because they didn't give him a moment before that to shine, right? Because they had to give it to everybody else, and him going, "Oh, look at these Mandalorians just taking everybody out because I'm shit." Right? In comparison to this, I'm fucking shit. But then they get pinned down by 2 stormtroopers in a fucking hallway. And instead of, like we're saying, literally just activating, throwing it down there, he's got to make some visually fucking retarded looking fucking run towards them.
Yeah, it was the dumbest move you could possibly make if you're him in that situation. Even factoring that he's wearing invincible armor.
And then talking about invincible armor, you to go back to the episode on Tython when he decides to leave his jetpack lying fucking around because he's a fucking retard. But
despite the fact that he's got a thing on his wrist that can control the jetpack.
The bit where he's back to back.
They showed that in the first episode of the season. Right.
So he could have started running, controlled it, fucking jumped on it, attached it to his back, and just taken off. But no.
Or he could have recalled it when he was up on the rock and those things came.
Oh, instead of trying to go through the force field 20 times, maybe he could have used some of that time to get his jetpack back. Yeah, fucking oath. But there's that scene where in that episode where him and Fennec are back to back.
Yeah.
He's shooting this way. She's shooting this way.
Yep.
So he's shooting this way. Pew, 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 pew. He's getting hit. They switch sides. She's still shooting at something. Right? So there's something there to shoot. He turns this way. Pew, 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 pew. Gets hit. She's fucking just standing there. And again, the Mandalorian armor maybe covers 30% of their body. 30, maybe 40% of their body. But he gets hit.
Even if it covers 80% of their body, it's still stupid. But
he gets hit by 25 blaster bolts and not one happened to make it through a slit in the armor? Not one. It's the worst.
Well, then you have to factor in that these blaster bolts like knock him backwards, right? Like he takes like physical impact from the things, especially in that episode. Yeah, especially the episode on the ship and on the fish planet.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah. In that scene where he's getting blasted away, and that's where he kind of has to just kind of like drop the grenades or the whatever they were, but like those things seem to like blast him back, but like not so much like a punch from the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
The amount of times this guy gets shot and actually gets hit, to not even have a wound. The only time we've ever seen Mandalorian in any sort of pain or wound or anything is at the end of season 1 when the fucking thing explodes and then we get back to spray to fucking save his life. That's the only time. He gets sniped by Fennec Shan and it hits the armor. He gets blaster bolted over 20 times. And the only reason why I know in both of these scenes that he gets hit over 20 times is because EFAP slowed the fucking thing down and counted them. Because they couldn't believe how fucking ridiculous it was.
It was like those EFAP videos when they're watching the episodes are pretty funny. But I had that same, like, when I watched those episodes, I either was just like, are you fucking kidding me? That's so stupid. But more often the quote unquote action sequences, I was just laughing because it just looks so silly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I know that scene where the women are going through the ship and everything in the last episode of season 2 is supposed to be like their badass moment and everything, but you know, it was just it looked stupid. It looked funny. It didn't look good, like good action to me. It was laughable.
Well, it's funny that we get it's funny that we get the wokest moment in The Mandalorian. In the episode, we get Luke Skywalker, and nobody gives a fuck. These people, these women, literally ran out of the ship, never took cover once. Sorry, I lie. Fucking Fennec Shan did when she ducked behind the thing and then did this roll on the ground so that she could fucking do something to this guy, kill him. And then she dodges a fucking blaster bolt. Yeah. She didn't need armor. She doesn't even need the force.
No.
At that range, she's able to go like this and not get hit. Are you fucking kidding me? The wokest moment in The Mandalorian, and it got justified by the fans because of Luke Skywalker.
Well, and then again, I don't know, we brought it up, but we're still worth pointing out to people who haven't seen us bitch about The Mandalorian before, but like they had to write the men, they had to write the men away just so they could have that moment.
But see, because this is the other
Boba Fett had to go be the driver and the
taxi driver. Yeah.
Oh, but then there'll be people out there going, "Oh yeah, but they were being the diversion so that Din Djarin could go and be the hero." Okay, so why didn't Din Djarin just go running out in that opening scene with them in the hangar? They killed everyone there.
Help him clear the hangar.
Yeah. They killed everyone in the hangar.
And then split up.
And then they moved off.
But then it's not just him.
Din Djarin went off.
It's the fact that Bo-Katan's other sidekick was a dude and was just missing in that episode.
Yeah, just disappeared.
They had to write a dumb reason for Din Djarin to hang back and not help clear the main hangar, which, like, all bets were off if they didn't get out of that main hangar, right? Seen or unseen.
But then you've also
you had to write Boba Fett away, so he just drove Slave One somewhere else, and then you had to disappear the male Mandalorian character from the previous
but
episode.
not only that, you've also got to have the other female Mandalorian chick beat up Boba Fett. You know, and then you got to have this women empowerment moment where they just run through this entire ship full of soldiers, full of droids, full of whatever, and they just make it to the... I don't know if you ever want to go back and watch it again, because now that you've heard all of this, it might destroy it for you. But just watch what happens when they walk into the cockpit or the bridge of the ship that they're invading. Literally, everyone just stands there to be shot.
Well, you gotta go one step back. Hold on, Ryno.
You've got Cara Dune with her gun jamming, and instead of fucking the soldier that's right in front of her, blasting her, she's got time to swing the fucking butt of the gun into his fucking face.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like a ha-ha action moment, but why? So the bridge clearly has these gigantic blaster doors because later in the episode, they closed them so the Rock'em Sock'em robots couldn't get in. They just punched the door stupidly. They're just like ding.
Let's call them Black'em Smack'em robots.
Yeah. So So they knew and were aware that the ship was there was a crew that was on board the ship of hostiles, and there was a gunfight. And you would think that standard procedure in such an event would be to close the blast doors to the bridge so the invaders can't enter the bridge of the ship. But no, they left the doors wide open just because.
It's like when that guy goes,
why not?
"Oh, we locked him out," and they're like, they're in the cargo control room. In where? The cargo control room, and then they just open the thing and they just get vacuumed out into space.
Right.
Like,
Because that was again supposed to be kind of
because that's where the troopers are kept in the cargo room, where there's just a door that can just go straight out into the vacuum of space. These ships are retarded.
Sure.
In the scene where the women are running through, right? They're crossing this bridge that literally, if you fall off the bridge, you fall through a shield and you're in the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that room about? Was it?
How does that work?
Because they wanted to have
some kind of.
You're on the way to the bridge. I'd love to see the specs of this ship if Disney could ever come
because
up
they
with
wanted the
specs of
moment
this
where
ship.
the Bo-Katan and the sidekick jetpacked up from underneath to do their attack. That's why it's there, because it
But
looks
their helmets don't keep
cool.
them clear from the vacuum of space. So how that means that they stayed shallow enough not to go past that force field. But when you actually look at it, the fucking stormtroopers that ran in and said freeze, and they just stood there.
But it looked cool. But let's go back to the Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
They just killed the entire fucking what is it called? Where the ship lands. They just killed everybody there, the hangar bay, and the stormtroopers come running in and go, freeze, throw down your weapons, instead of just fucking pulling the trigger.
Right.
They've killed half your fucking ship. They're halfway to the bridge. Shoot
let's
those
go back
fuckers.
to the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, though. Okay.
So let me just get this before we miss it. Geekblend, thank you for being here, buddy. Hail, brothers. Hope you guys are good. Yes, we are all doing well. Thank you, brother. Go on.
Good and
all right, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. They couldn't be left active. They had to be in like low power mode or on the charging stations because they consume a lot of energy. So and the ship has limited a finite amount of energy. So they plug all the robots in at the same time. Instead of having like 2 or 3 patrolling the ship.
And did anything happen to the ship?
And rotating them out, they all charge at the same time.
Did all the doors stop working because they drained too much power to power up all these droids?
But they don't have enough power, so they plug them all in at the same time.
So stupid.
Does that make like why these things are like because and the show build them up to be the end all be all like super weapon that the enemy has, right? That was the whole thing is like, oh my god, he's developed these next generation fucking Rock'em Sock'em robots. Like, oh my god, better watch out. And they just didn't have any of them turned on. They had to like, they don't even have any of them patrolling at all, or just like available in an emergency. They have to go through this really long like process get off their charging stations and be active.
Anyway,
basically,
the Mandalorian is just as shit as, well, it's Disney Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is shit. And yes, if you want to say you just hate Disney Star Wars, you're fucking right. I fucking hate Disney Star Wars. You know why I hate Disney Star Wars? Because it's not fucking Star Wars. Simple.
But Ryno, I heard that it's part of its own thing called the Mandoverse. I don't think it's part of the Disney stuff.
Man, where does this come from? Right? We know exactly where it comes from. Fucktards out there, right? But it's kind of like when you start saying things like Veil of the Force when it never existed. They're going to use the Veil of the Force. It's called the World Between Worlds. Does anyone even know what you're talking about? Yeah, because you've got to make it your own fucking thing so that you sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's the Mandoverse. You know why it's the Mandoverse? Because John and Dave won the Civil War.
Shouldn't it be the Peopleverse? I mean, I think that's kind of sexist.
It's such a fucking retarded thing. clip it, send it to him. I don't fucking care. The guy's a fucking retard. And he keeps putting out false hope because of his bullshit rumors that he comes up with in his own fucking head, or he reads 4chan or fucking Reddit or something. Fucking let's not get started on that. Let's move off Star Wars. There is one more thing. I did actually want to wrap up. Man, we've been talking about this fucking an hour. I wanted to quickly just talk about this again. I did do a video on it myself, but it came up during the week. And I think it's just another thing that just goes to show how Hollywood has fallen. The fact that this person, I'm not going to go through the article. I'm just going to, most of you will probably actually know what's been going on. But basically, this woman who decided to state that the X-Men name is a bit outdated and all of that kind of stuff, she's been promoted because she deserves it, right?
Of course.
So basically, what's her name again? Fucking where is it? Victoria Alonso. There it is. She's been promoted to, what is it? New president of physical, post-production, VFX, and animation for Marvel. Now, we're going to have a quick listen to this again.
That guy looks like he's about to take a shit.
So this is her little statement about it. Again, I can't believe that this is a thing for Captain Marvel and they just go off on talking about other stuff. But anyway.
So you guys have a lot of toys to play with now in the future, including the X-Men.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, you can't tell me much, but can you give me a little hint of what the future is coming? Where is the future going and the excitement?
I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. I don't know where it's
going. The only thing that you can really say to that is, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know, again, I'll reference Ryan's video. It's kind of like walking up to the Empire State Building and saying, why do people call it the Empire State Building? I think that name's a bit outdated. It's the name of it, right? X-Men is the name of these group of people, right? These extraordinary human beings. Absolute stupid. Again, I don't want to go into this a lot because it's just fucking ridiculous. And I just can't believe that a person who has these views has actually any form of control in it. What do you got here?
Her face is almost a perfect circle, so I decided to check on that. I mean, a
perfect circle is a good band, actually.
It's a what?
If anyone knows who a
Maynard from Tool leads it. Yeah,
correct.
But look at that; it's a perfect circle with glasses and a mouth and nose. Anyway,
well, I have the solution, and it's pretty obvious, and I can't believe they haven't come up with this yet. But every female, every female character is just trans, so they're all men.
Yeah.
They all identify as men. They just have because the mutant gene really fucks with transition surgeries. They haven't been able to, and hormone therapies, they haven't been able to actually transition, but they all identify as men. So X-Men's fine.
It just is like I've been saying for a long time that I'm really scared now that Disney own the X-Men. And just seeing more and more of this kind of stuff, they're just going to destroy it. They're going to destroy it. They're going to cuck out fucking Charles. They're going to cuck out Wolverine. They're going to cuck out Cyclops, all to put Jean, Rogue, and Storm there. And the problem is that they all work together. They're all a part of the story. They all have their own development together. Yes, there's a bit of a love triangle and all of that sort of thing, but it's never been intrusive in that aspect. It's more just told a really good story. if you really want good X-Men, I go back and watch the animated series, the 90s animated series. That's the best stuff. But that's pretty much it. Any comments from you guys in regards to this?
No, like
You haven't
like
already
Greg
said.
said, it's a nothing burger. You know, it's old information, really.
Yep.
It's just come back up. But
It's just come back up because she's been promoted. You know, she's now got more power over these IPs, and for somebody who says that to now get more power, it just goes to show that she's not a fan. She doesn't care about it. It's more about the platform and the identity politics.
Well, what's her position again?
She's got to be the president of physical, post-production, VFX, and animation.
Right.
But she's worked on Shang-Chi. She did work on
but that's not
Captain
creative.
Marvel.
There's no story or creative character development.
But she's
in
the
that title.
president. If this is her mind think, if this is the way that she thinks, she's going to be putting people in place that think the same way she does, correct? A bit like the Kathleen Kennedy faction.
In her realm, which is post-production. So like her job is going to be to get people the computer resources and hire techies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's not going to have that position is a technical one. She's in charge of a technical team, not a creative team.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess there's some creative elements as far as how you want to actually make the animations or visual effects look, but as far as like story or character development, the position doesn't even sound like it's even related to that. It's post-production work. It's she's in charge of the animating nerds.
Mm.
Yeah, she could very well replace a bunch of them with
activists.
Based on their what's between their legs and who they fuck, and that'll affect the quality of the visual effects work. But she's like, that position doesn't strike me as having anything to do with creative control of story arcs or character development.
That probably is true. Sorry, Stig. I'll catch up with you soon. We'll definitely get you on again. Sorry to interrupt you. No, you're right. You're right. Yes, I did see that Star Wars girl dressed as Rogue, and damn is the right phrase for that. Tim, anything else?
No, I mean, yeah, nothing on this. Circle face.
Greg, anything else?
No.
Cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for today, guys. There's again next week. Daylight savings for us kicks in, so there'll be maybe a slight couple of changes, and especially once you guys' daylight savings kicks in, there'll be probably a bigger change. So just keep that in mind, guys.
Kicks out here, yeah.
But everyone, thank you for coming out. As per usual, you're all awesome. Whether or not you agree or not, the fact that some people that do disagree with us, I can still sit there and have a conversation with them because there's what's the word? There's no maliciousness behind it or anything. We can just talk and
malice.
And just agree to disagree if we have to. Sometimes it might be the fact that, it pisses me off that this person doesn't agree with me on a certain aspect of something. But being the fact that we can actually do it in a civil way, I like that.
Yeah, and guys, like, here's the thing, and I've said this on my channels before. It's okay to disagree, but just make sure that you're arriving at your own conclusions and not listening to certain figures. And I don't mean numbers. I mean certain people that have their own certain opinions and appealing to authority. Like, arrive at your own opinions based on the facts that are out there and really research the facts. Just don't repeat catchphrases and headline bullshit that's out there from certain sources. That's all I can say. Just think for yourself.
Unless it's one of two things: the narrative's fucked, or without respect we accept. They're the only two that you're allowed to use. But yes, mutual respect. It's very important. And the thing is, though, is that there's YouTubers out there, and I'm not just talking about one, everyone, but there are YouTubers out there that run this rumor mill of fucking information, right? That actually have no respect for you. None. Because that what's more important to them is obviously their channel and making sure that they're getting the views and getting people on side, right? Making up bullshit stuff. And I'm talking Mike Zero as well. I'm not just talking, you know, the dumb cunt. But anyway, I could go on and on and on. But thank you again, everyone, for being here. Tim, thank you, brother. Please let everyone know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, so I'm probably not going to have any lengthy videos for a while because it took me several months to make my Bloodlines review. I had a lot of other stuff going on over the last several months, so I worked on it when I could. But people seem to like the review, so definitely check it out. And it's quite timely with this Boba Fett poster coming out that I reviewed a book that I actually still have sitting right here with Boba Fett on the cover, like the real Boba Fett. So go check out that review. I've got a video I'm very happy with, my Babylon 5 news about the reboot video. It's getting views, it's getting hate comments. It's below 80% like ratio now, percentage, whatever. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go hit like and try to offset all these soy-sucking betas that are making all these dumbass comments. And that's something we're going to talk about on Fallen Night. We're going to talk about this stupid, this misconception that old shows were already woke, or George Lucas was extremely political in Star Wars. Stuff like that. We're going to talk about that, but they're putting stuff in the comments. So be there Saturday night, Fallen Night with these two guys and Laura. And I think it's going to rain, so I'm not going to be able to light the old chair on fire. We'll have to wait until it's a clear night. Yeah. And then tomorrow night, Greg and I will be back for Grounds of Expediency on my other channel. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff going on in the political world. So that's always fun to do. I'll make some coffee and we'll talk about that. Nothing Sunday night because as we announced, Off the Treks for now is going to go to every other week. And then Monday night on Indecent Behavior, we will have John F. Trent from Bounding Into Comics. So that ought to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
And nothing Tuesday, I don't think. So yeah, but no videos planned. I've been doing a lot of shorts. If you guys haven't checked out shorts, then definitely start doing that because a lot of your favorite creators are doing shorts and they seem to get a lot more views. And I'm making, let's just put it this way. I'm getting to however much I make off the shorts a lot quicker than a regular video. I think I've made 30 cents on one of them. Oh, yay, 30 cents. But I can show you some of my videos with hundreds of views, and I haven't even made that much off of ad revenue.
14 cents.
So watch your, if you make 3 shorts a day, though, for a whole month, that's like $15. That's pretty good for YouTube ad revenue when you're a channel of our size, with less than 1,300 subscribers. So watch your favorite creators' shorts, guys, because they're only a minute long and there's a lot of good stuff in there. But yeah, I've gone on too long. So thanks again, as always.
Awesome. Everyone go and subscribe to Tim Open Airlock Policy. Greg, have you really got anything to add to that?
Nope.
No, go and subscribe to Greg. Go and follow him on Twitter. All of that good stuff as well. Greg is a good dude. And he's
I'm not
down the
though.
line.
Not really.
Tells you the way it is. Tells you how it is.
That'll do.
Go and subscribe to Tim. Thank you, fuck Norris.
Fuck you, Liquid Blake.
Why is Biggles not in bed? Why is
Didn't like
Biggles
that?
not in bed?
Find everything related to Spider-Man.
Fuck you, Ryno. Fuck you, Biggles. No, thank you, everyone.
Past your bedtime, Biggles.
Next week, just quickly, Casual Rage. There might be a slight time change, like I mentioned, because of daylight savings. But it looks like we could have Matt Wilkins on. and if he is going to be on next week, depending on if there's any big news, we'll probably talk a little bit about that. But I really want to just go into a lot of some EU stuff. Talk a bit about the Maul novels because I know he's read those and I've read those. Want to talk about Thrawn trilogy. I want to talk about the New Jedi Order because I've started reading that. If he wants to go back to Knights of the Old Republic era, we can talk some Revan. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But yes, be ready for next week. Come and subscribe to my channel, all that good stuff. And we will see you all later. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for being here. We love you. Bye, everyone.
Not bad, not bad. Now you.
Rob's already laughing. Like, fuck this shit.
Get to the long. Can you see the ball sack now?
You're like stroking your leg with your one finger too.
They came back.
Oops, I pushed the wrong button. Bye, everyone.